You got me thinking things I didn't mean to. You got me wanting things I never wanted. Is this the way you always get what you want? Alright, alright. You got me right inside of my head. You got me so, so close on the tip of your tongue. This is the way you always get what you want. Alright, alright. Let's do and say that we're done. Let's do, I know that you want to. Let's do and say that we're done. Say that we're done. Let's do and say that we're done. Let's do. You got me saying words I've never said. You got me powerless on the edge of your bed. This is the way you always get what you want. Alright, alright. Let's do and say that we're done. Let's do, I know that you want to. Let's do and say that we're done. Say that we're done. Let's do, say that we're done. Let's do, say that let's do, say that we're done. Let's do, I'm powerless to you. I'm powerless to you. I know that I want you, and I know that you want me back, and I know that you want me back. Let's do and say that we're done. Let's do, I know that you want to. Let's do and say that we're done. Say that we're done. Powerless to you. Say that we're done.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Snapdragon Pro Series, where it is day 4, week 4, the final week, whichever way you want to look at it, of Call of Duty Mobile here in EU. This means it's the last opportunity for our teams to grab the final remaining spot in our challenge finals, which will be next week. And so a lot on the line here for our last 3 squads, and it's going to be an exciting day for sure. My name is Glitter Explosion, and I'm your host, and I am, of course, joined by our wonderful, fantabulous casters. We've got Infinity and Proper ready to go, fresh off the back of Ed A. Birdie. How you feeling heading into EU?
Feeling pretty good, actually. I did manage to get my whole 8 hours sleep last night, so I'm ready to go. I'm fresh, and yeah, I cannot believe, I said this yesterday, I cannot believe that at this point of the season already, the final day of challenge season, we got to get some teams in challenge finals.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And Proper, I've missed you. It's been too long. It's a week already. You ready for the last week of challenge? I don't even understand how we got here.
Yeah, no, it feels great to be here. It also feels very strange that out of the 3 of us that I'm the only one on a normal sleep schedule. But yeah, it feels good to be back for another weekend to be able to see who's going to qualify for that next stage as far as the season is concerned. NA was a banger last night. I want to continue to see EU step up to see who's going to be that number 3 team, or maybe even the number 2. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to this. It will determine our top 4 teams in the region. But if you're just joining us and you somehow missed the last 3 weeks of competition, or you just want to see what else we've got going on throughout the rest of the year, follow us on social media, whether that's X, Insta, or Facebook. That way you won't miss a single second of what we've got going on here in the Snapdragon Pro Series. Or, of course, you can join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series. We've got all of our community members in there. You can hang out with us, talk all things Call of Duty Mobile, and, of course, continue getting all of your updates as well. But let's start talking about the nitty-gritty of everything, all right? We'll do one quick final review on this format. If you haven't learned it by now, I don't know if I can help you, okay? But it's pretty basic because we made it through our open finals. We're now in the challenge season. For our challenge season, we've gotten our 8 teams broken down into those groups of 4. We already finished Group A. We already finished the upper bracket of Group B. Now we're just looking at our lower bracket to determine which teams make it through to our challenge finals. And those are right around the corner, Brody. 1 week away is our challenge finals.
Yeah, really excited to get in that challenge finals. This is the best of the best that both Europe and North America have to offer. And we've been surprised, I think, by both regions. We've been a lot of new blood across the board, I think, especially here in Europe. I'm really excited to see I've said this a lot, what the old guard of European teams here, especially in EU, look like versus the new blood. You know, we have SSS in that challenge finals. I wait to see what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, they're not going home empty-handed. They're going to be getting some money as well here. Proper $22.50 to first.
Yep, I mean, hey, a couple extra dollars doesn't hurt anybody, but I think more importantly, as we continue to build up European Call of Duty Mobile on this pedestal, we want to continue to see them do well on the international stage. It doesn't just stop at the end of this. The dollars is nice, but you got to continue to grind because you know that everybody, as far as India, China, and Garena is concerned, have been bodying you on a global stage. So the dollars is just a nice little asterisk, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, this is just the beginning. We have an entire year of competitive Call of Duty Mobile coming around the corner here for SPS. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get better and better as we continue. But before we can get to that point, we have to finish what we've got going on here. So let's take a look at that Group B that I was telling everybody about. This is what we're talking about. This is that lower bracket, and these are the last 3 teams that are fighting. If you were here with us last week, it was Animus that were able to clinch that 3rd spot in our challenge finals. They took out Vanquish to do so, knocked them down into that lower bracket, which means they'll be waiting to see who wins the match between RHH and PBM. And then that final second match will determine the 4th squad through to the challenge finals. So it's going to be a quick day today. We only have 2 matches here on the board, but regardless, they're very important matches. Last team to secure this proves that they are top 4 best squads in the region. Here's the schedule. We'll be following the same format as that bracket. But Brody, it's been a journey for these teams to get here so far. So let's take a look back at some of those highlight moments. Talk to me just in general, your thoughts for all 3 squads.
Yeah, I think this group is pretty much how I expected it to go. I think coming into this entire group, I think people saw the likes of Animus, and I think especially Vanquish, who really showed up in open finals. They were the ones that upset Queens and thought, yeah, these teams are going to be the teams to qualify. And one of those 2 teams has already done so. It was a very quick path for the likes of Animus, who swiftly 3-0'd RHH the first time around. Just a total different ball game, I think, when you're going up against Animus. So there was an easy 3-0 for them. And then on the other side, we're looking into today, we've got the squad of PBM, who also got very swiftly 3-0'd and dealt with by Vanquish. And it feels like between these 4 teams, it is kind of a massive skill gap between the likes of RHH and PBM. Even though there are names that we recognize from those rosters competing, going head-to-head with Vanquish and Animus, they have really, really struggled, especially outside of the hard points. And that was for sure there during the opening day of games for those teams.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they were able to kind of do from week to week, see if they could have made any improvements or any tweaks before they got to this point here today. But let's start talking about this specific first matchup here proper. I mean, you've got RHH on one side, PBM on the other. Start talking to me about RHH first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, when it comes down to it for RHH, as far as their roster is concerned, we've seen a couple of these players actually inside of the Snapdragon Pro Series in one shape or another across different rosters. Aomin jumps off the page. Sushi is a bright spot as well, but they have unable to be able to piece it together against a lot of other top teams, and there's not a whole lot to go off of as far as RHH is concerned. I mean, you can go back to open finals in those matches, but you can only take that so far. You got 0-3 by Animus, and you don't really have a whole lot to go off of that. I mean, you put up 69 points on Hacienda. Nice. And you got it around to Search and Destroy. Not so great. So I think that you're still trying to find yourself, and this could be a really good litmus test to be able to see how well this team does stack up against the rest.
And if PBM on the other side of things were to here make it through, that they're going to end up in a rematch situation.
Yeah, they would do, and they'd need to do a hell of a lot better. You know, going back to that matchup, I'm going to say it, like, you got to make some changes here. I would not be going in with the same roster. Specifically, I think Kiliak, I think it was like 2-32, which is inarguably the worst KD we've seen from any single player in any game of the Snapdragon Pro Series this season. Can't be doing that again. So either you got to not do that again, or you got to not have Kiliak in the roster if PBM do manage to get through RHH. It's going to be a tough one either way, because Vanquish are not going to be a roster, I think, that is going to lay over and die. So I think it's going to be tough for either team, whichever team makes it through to play Vanquish.
Yeah, absolutely. But they have to get through each other, of course, in order to make it to Vanquish and see what they can do up against that squad. So let's start taking a look here at what we've got on the board for our picks and bans, because we saw yesterday that there is always the potential for an upset here in SPS. But now that we've got these coming through, how are you feeling about them here proper?
Yeah, I mean, look, you got 2 of the biggest staples, right? Hacienda map 1, firing range map number 2. You talk about a tried and true first 3 maps, get the raid control. It is as stapled as Call of Duty's history in the first 3 maps as possible. I mean, you talk about tenure when it comes to Call of Duty Mobile. All 3 of these map mode combinations you would expect both these 2 teams to know. I'm more or less expecting to be able to see this maybe even go to 4. I mean, the firing range, search and destroy, it's such a toss-up. Like you said, Lauren, there could be upsets. Everything I got on my notepad right here might mean jack at the end of the day. We might go 5 and everything might not mean anything. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, right? Because it's like, how much can you actually take away from a series where you just got dominated by the best teams in the group, right? Like, it doesn't show what they're actually capable of, and you'll have a much better ball game here when you replay Hacienda, when you replay Raid Control. So I'm expecting a lot more from these teams this time around. I'm expecting everybody on RHH to not go double negative this time around, because they're not playing Animus, so they should be fine. Just perform better, Forehead. Come on.
Sound point.
I mean, yeah, sometimes where you get slotted in these brackets based off of your previous performance can really put you at a disadvantage. So we'll have to see what they can do now facing off against each other, if we kind of get any more information out of these squads, or if we know what to expect, because I believe our teams are ready to go. Our lower bracket round 1 is about to get underway, so let's dive into it.
All right. Well, thanks, Lauren. Yeah, really excited for this matchup. Again, I think it's one of those things where you see teams get totally trolled by teams that are better than them, like Animus and Vanquish, and then they actually end up facing up against each other, and you get a good match because they are much more closely matched. I expect that's going to be the case here. Second match, when Vanquish gets into the picture, different conversation to be had. But for this one proper, I am actually expecting a couple of question marks to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, look, it always comes down to it. This is the beautiful part about the Snapdragon Pro Series. When you want to play up against the best, well, now you get that opportunity, and you got absolutely millywhopped. So now you kind of got woken up a little bit. So yeah, I think that this should be a much better test for both of these two teams, given the simple fact that you're not going up against Vanquish or you're not going up against Animus. Though I guess if there's one thing to talk about for RHH on the opposite side, at least you put up 69 points on the hardpoint versus Animus versus PBM, who put up 69 points on the slums versus Vanquish. I don't know. I'm trying to grasp the straws here, man. But the Hacienda hardpoint should be a banger, man. Like, it's a square up map. Whether you draw it up any which way or the other. Very explosive turning point looking at that P3, but I want to see some good fundamentals, especially for this RHH squad, right? I mean, like, you talk about some of the rosters that have been playing on the upper echelon as far as European Call of Duty Mobile is concerned. They should be aware how this map mode combination should be played and should be exemplified here in the opening set.
All right, well, Hacienda is something these guys should know by this point. Let's be frank about it, right? If you don't know how to play a Hacienda hardpoint, you probably shouldn't be playing Call of Duty Mobile, but still. Expecting great things from these teams here. I'm expecting a much closer game. Isn't it funny, by the way, as an aside, that both teams got exactly 69-point clubs? Like, both of them exactly on the dot got 69-point club in their first games.
I'm not laughing.
Funny quirk? No? Okay, never mind. No, it wasn't necessarily the number.
Like an LOL, like it's kind of like when you type LOL, like you're not actually, like I'm laughing internally. Like, yeah, it's great.
I can't say I ever really type LOL. Anyway, it's not necessarily the number. It's just you know, it's kind of interesting that they both got exactly decimated the same way in their opening hard points of the season. And hopefully that doesn't happen again here, because if it does, boy oh boy, that does not bode well for the rest of this series. Of course, we will have a search and destroy and a control after this. The raid control we saw previously from PBM, and that did not go well versus Vanquish. The Hacienda hardpoint for RHH did not go well versus Animus. I kind of hinted at it. I think it was HBC was the only one that didn't go like double negative or something like that. He did go negative, but not to the same extent as the rest of the squad here proper. So I'm expecting big things out of RHH. I want to see the RHH that we know and love, the former Ricey squad.
Hardpoint is ours.
That'd be something. We'll have to see. I mean, usual suspects is one of your cardinal phrases, right? You're more or less like looking for like Sushi, Aomine, HBC, all of these guys just to be able to come in to their own. It's not Animus or exclusive on the opposite side, or even Kings of Past, so I have to try to figure things out as we get underway in this map number 1. And all things said, not a bad start for the Chicken Base Emblem team, as they are soaking up a lot of time, and they got those ball spawns too.
I often wonder what the chicken is for.
I have no idea, but I love it.
I love chickens, dude. Chickens are great.
I
They do great things in life. It's great on the logo for RHH here, as they're looking to have a phenomenal start to this game already. They do manage to get a wealth of time on P1, but PBM will actually walk away from that hard point with pretty much the same amount of time here. So all even Stevens going into the next hard point. PBM already knocking at the door from the side, but it's being watched by Rushes, who is there. Gunfights for the most part being won by RHH. PBM managed to filter through, but Kiliak almost immediately gets dealt with. And now for RHH, all they got to do here is watch the front of that hill.
They got Kiliak on a rogue spawn all the way over by the well side, starting to cut all the way through lobby, trying to set up a little bit of a pinch, but all his teammates are just dying inside of the time. PBM starting to at least get some trades. Rogue Spawn still coming in towards the back, so I don't think that Sushi was going to be aware of that to even be an option. Doesn't matter, still finds the kill. Somehow RHH just hold. I mean, PBM had a really good opening. They found a 3-for-2 kill feed. Sanga's here to at least maybe try to fight for the back 20 seconds, but these back well spawns just so sticky, man. RHH going to be feeling pretty good with the way that they're walking away from this P2.
Yeah, PBM in a really good spot here. As we look over towards the scrap time, and this is a big, heavy investment in for the scrap time. It is 15 seconds. You take that to try and basically tie the game up, perhaps even take a slight advantage over RHH. But RHH will get the first look at this next hill once again. Split spawn starting to come through here. So players towards new, isolated inside. Trades now going down. RHH will get the better of it. But as I say that, Rushes finds himself isolated inside Tint. And now PBM going to have to find a way through from that plat side. Rush is actually winning the gunfights inside Tin as well, so this is going to make things more awkward for the players up top for PBM. They haven't fully dealt with the threat. It's pump fake now. Potential for a flanking play. We start to see these operators come through early on from RHH, though. Rushes finds 3 with the gravity vortex gun. Now RHH in for this time. They're now fighting this one from Fence's side.
Yep, trying to at least fight this from the front. You got those back spawns if you are PBM. Operators, at least to speak of. You might need some of those just to try to break back in towards the back. I mean, the contested time is still okay. This is still the early get-going of this map number 1, but would have loved to be able to see a little bit of investment there from PBM. I mean, you still are sitting on 4 operators. Pull one of those out, push all the way through, get the securement of the time, as you allowed RHH to be able to do all of that plus some more. Look at the rotation over towards new as well, Brody. I mean, PBM are still focused, trying to fight for towards old, much like over by P2. They're lacking numbers on the rotation. There was one player over here, but quickly dispatched of as RHH are in possession of the rock hill.
And HBC will be the first one over here. You actually lose your help towards McLaren's side. I always call McLaren's side. Garage side. Now PBM on the way to try and break in towards this hill. Russia is using the coverage of the smoke to his advantage. Team shots in, but he is now isolated towards this hard point. Help will be on the way, and PBM actually haven't hit inside. On the other side, though, we see Astral now utilizing the Sparrow for the kill. Operators now starting to come out galore here from PBM. Just one for Sushi on RHH. Can he find any value with it? No! Big shutdown from Rai, who finds 2. This is the investment you wanted to see if you're PBM. You're finding every single gunfight.
Yep, every single one of them. Death Machine got a lot of bullets. It's one of the longest lasting operators that we have here in Call of Duty Mobile, and Helios letting them absolutely have a good damage. HBC for 2 on the return. And this is what you needed if you are PBM. I mean, this back 15 seconds, it'll flip the lead, but call a spade here, buddy. We're going to have ourselves just about a dead even game. Helios has full-on streaks. Going in towards the second set, you couldn't have asked for a better bounce back from 3 into 4 with that break.
And that is perfect operator utilization coming out from PBM. It's going to give them basically an even Stevens game here between them and RHH. And considering I think RHH have just a little bit better on these rotations so far, to do it basically off one operator sweep is everything that you could have wanted if you're PBM. Now we go in towards new, though. You're starting to lose some of the gunfights up top. Top positioning is important. HBC knows it, and he turns and burns on towards Helios. Perfect shots with a USS-9. This thing can shoot hell straight, and he is showing that right now. Shots galore. Streak will continue as well for HBC towards the hard point, but while he might be getting these kills here proper, RHH aren't necessarily converting for time.
No, they're really not. And it's kind of like the staple of P1, right? You can find all the kills in the upper halls, but just get somebody down low inside of the time, push through inside a secret, and try to manipulate this P1 hill into well spawns. All of that doesn't happen for RHH, albeit a Herculean spree out of HBC. And now you got rogue spawns all over the place. RHH get inside of lobby, they flip the spawns, and PBM are just sitting there kind of wondering where they're supposed to be, what's going on, because RHH are just running through them. Finally, they stabilize. RHH to the backside of the driveway, PBM rushing across the rock for the P2 hill.
Gotta break this. RHH with a tentative advantage right now. 4 operators in the bank ready to go. If they require them, they might need them. Helios and Raya are on the way. Already finding some value here through the front. That's a lot of kills going PBM's way. Rushes finds himself isolated, and he might well find 2 with the gravity vortex gun. But now you've done what you needed to do. If you're PBM, you've won the gunfight. You're in towards the kill, and you can fight this one against that driveway side. Investment from RHH to try and get back in towards the hard point. It's HBC with the Annihilator. Is that enough of an opening here? Trading pinstripe kill feed for RHH. And Amin will follow up here with the War Machine as well. RHH do manage to battle back through, but PBM, they force out a couple of operators to do so.
Yeah, they sure do. Those are going to be operators that you might need in your back pocket going over towards P3. Look at PBM's bank. currently sitting at about 3 of them. RHH, to my understanding, don't have any. So this rotation is going to be a good one for PBM. They have some well spawns, and they got some players that are still lurking around topside of Secret. They need to try to bolster to the backside of the office spawns, because now you got a couple players lurking around the upper hallways. That was Pump Fake. He does find one, gets traded out. But look at the spawns immediately. P3 still about to open up. And you get those back office spawns. That's where a couple RHH members actually spawn in. So Pump Fake, HBC, gonna catch a lot of PBM members by surprise in and around from 10, and that is just a worst case scenario for PBM.
And not great. Now RHH, this could be a big moment here in this game. They could really start to take seriously this game. Sanga's going to invest. The Claw does nothing. Rai with the equalizers has to be the ace in the hole for PBM. He's already found some kind of value and is still playing his life towards the hard point. Now going in for the contest, but getting shot through the fence. Desperately trying to play their life here. Rai doing everything to keep PBM in the conversation. Now needs to play his life more, but he can't do anything. That's a big kill from Ryu. Sushi's equalizers get shut down just with 2 kills to his name. RHH will get the better of the scrap time, but Ryu effectively shuts out 10 to 15 seconds of time that RHH otherwise would have got there.
Yeah. And PBM would have loved to be able to get the majority of that initial time. But you have to call in towards those operators just to try to fight for the scrap time. You don't even get the majority of it. You're still trailing by 60. Aomin up top, though, looking for another multi-kill. Sets up his teammates for at least the trades. But it's rotation over towards the rock hill, and the last set of hills wasn't good for PBM. They're trying to rectify that. They got numbers over here this time around, but the trades have been so good for RHH all of map 1. Rushes actually spawns all the way out onto the backside of offices, completely thwarts all of PBM's hopes to try to set up any sort of resistance to funnel back in to reinforce this hard point. It doesn't work out, and RHH are still in towards the time.
And now I think you're starting to see RHH utilize a lot more of their utility a little bit more individually, right? Because they can afford to get away with it. They've got a 60-point advantage, and that will continue to grow here. PBM spawning on that garden side. All that RHH have got to do is L-Trigger, or whatever the COD Mobile equivalent is, downrange. Sanger will go for the jump up, though, and we'll find a couple of kills here. Pump Fake not quite ready for the fight. Neither is Sushi towards the point. Pump Fake finds a couple of kills, but will finally get shut down, and that break comes by way of Sanger's little wrap around. One little last look at scrap time here from RHH to try and stop potential comeback from PBM. They are hanging on in this game. They are definitely not that far behind. You can come back into this game proper with one solid hold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's comebackable, for sure. It's just got to be some really good fundamentals being showcased, of which PBM have not done all map long. Besides P3 to P4, realistically, in that break in the first set of hardpoints, which feels like it's forever ago. But they had to somehow start here on P1. I mean, soaking up time, getting kills in the upper hallways. You go towards the second set of hardpoints, and where it started here on P1 again, Brody, that was not a good sight for PBM, and it's starting off the same way.
Yeah, I think as soon as the team realizes they can actually get some kills and jump on the time for some easy points, come a lot better for it. RHH have certainly realized that over the last couple of hard points here, as now they are really swarming, watching every single point of entry. Astral finally flies through. You've got help as well from Ryu, but it doesn't last that long. Sushi from afar will shut both of those players down. RHH now stealing time away, and this is a lot of time, frankly, that you should never be losing on P1. PBM have already kind of resigned themselves to the rotation, and they have to win these battles. You've got Helios and Sanger, excuse me, isolated in towards Nu. They have to win some gunfights, and they are doing exactly that. Those are some big fights to win for PBM, but those back spawns now for RHH starting to dawn upon them.
That's just how the Annihilator of HBC. Sushi now has to pull out the Equalizer just to try to break it, just to call game. Finds the first, gets traded. You still got close wall spawns. PBM still have numbers on this side.
So looking for some kills. PBM holding on here for a second. Couple of operators on both sides. They've gone all right, but now you've seen PBM invest. Astral with the Sparrow has to go huge, pre-firing it towards that doorway, and HBC no choice but to effectively just sit there. Astral will find the kill. HBC gets away with something at the very least. I think that's team shots alongside Sushi to take Ryu out of the plate, but you cannot get in at the moment. Astral Sparrow is doing so much damage. Finally they get through, and it's down to rushes around the backside. RHH now in for the last 15 seconds, proper one more wave of gunfights, and they've done this.
Yeah, they can win it. Yeah, Rushes has the Gravity Vortex gun. He's going to start closing things down inside of Elbow. 245 to 181. You got to somehow funnel your way through Gravity, and that just does not work out. Predator Missile will be the beautiful bow on top. And 250 to 181 is the final score. I would definitely say a lot closer than what it was suggesting to be through the second set of hard points. PBM fought back there valiantly at the end, but it's just bright spots here, bright spots there. And it's like you were talking about, once you knew that Rush, or RHH, excuse me, They just call a game. They just start using all of their operators and their streaks all willy-nilly, individualistic as it may be, to win some very simplistic gunfights. And they're able to call a game with that last little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to PBM, because I think through the first set particularly, they were somewhat more competitive, and we saw splashes of solid gameplay from them, great decision making. I think it was on the first set of rotations towards the rock hard point, where they had like 4 operators or something ridiculous like that, all keeping control of the hard point, and that kind of decision making can definitely change the way you're playing the game. It definitely kept them close with RHH for the longest period of time, but I think it was a string of hills in the second and third set from RHH where they got 50 to 60 seconds and PBM got nada that really ended up being the death of them in that game. And as I already said, I mean, the fact that you can kind of get away with the time that they did on P1, that is problematic at best. RHH very happy there to take a solid win. I'm going to say it, though. You know what I'm going to say? I'm looking at the scoreboards, and we don't like to be negative about players, right? Ultimately, they're way better at these games than we are on the casting desk. With that said, I don't think it helped that Kiliak goes 14 and 42.
I mean, still got a minute of OBJ time. I'm still trying to supplement it in other ways, right? I think that we're trying to poke at a bear that is been poked too many times. Like it's so obvious that PBM are definitely missing out as far as the slaying is concerned. But if we're going to continuously sit here and talk about how the slaying is one of their biggest problems, then why was it only 250 to 181? I mean, if you got somebody that's dropping somewhere near like double negative, triple negative at that point, honestly speaking, you probably should be getting 40-point club more often than not in 5v5, especially if you are forcing your team to play 4v5. So I don't know. I think it's more of like the fundamentals than it is anything. It's just felt like that PBM setups were just not consistent enough. I almost want to say like they were missing like some cerebral calls when it came down to towards like that P3, especially. They're sitting on 4 operators. You got the back patio spawns. Like just pull out an operator or 2 and just run all the way through them. I want to see some of that aggression coming in towards the search and destroy for firing range, because we know that it can house a certain amount of aggression, especially when you can get some nades to land over top of 10. You can get over towards that bomb site pretty quickly, get a player inside of 10. You just got to be worried about the sniper watching that cross. You deal with that, you're sitting pretty.
And I think going back to the search and destroy from RHH versus Animus, they lost the first blood quite often and then kind of collapsed from there on out. So PBM can draw first blood and then act on it. They'll be perfectly fine, but that's not the start that they wanted. They're already losing a couple here. Immediate trailer control here for RHH. PBM still, technically speaking, have control of the A site by virtue of the fact they've got a sniper inside American. Somebody on that back cross as well. So PBM, as long as they keep those players there, RHH can't technically do something here, but I imagine the double challenge is going to come thick and fast, and it will do. Sanga's actually going to win that initial fight, though, but you're fine with the trade if you're RHH. That is the positive having numbers. You now have site control, and that rock is going down. Oh, maybe not.
Is it? He got kneecapped. He gives it up ever so slightly. That was what I was going to worry about. You got Astral still lurking inside of American. Has a late nade. Lands right in towards the back. Actually doesn't connect on a sushi, so you're going to be able to lay this rock down.
Ugh.
And he escapes with his life as well. 3v2.
Yeah, that's tough. You were really looking for that exit frag. Now you don't have it.
Yeah.
PBM fighting an uphill battle here on this retake. At least Ryu and Astral are the players in the play. I'd be confident that they could do this with anybody on PBM, but Astral goes a little bit too aggressive there. And it gets shut down. Ryu with a late trade will actually catch Sushi off guard. Almost good shots on towards the second as well, but HBC will win that fight. And RHH, off the first blood there, early control. And, you know, fair play to PBM. They managed to control the cross on towards A for long enough, but as soon as that rock goes down, it's just too difficult for PBM to win.
Defend the objectives.
Just get inside a trail.
Has the bomb.
Don't have to worry about the sniper on the cross if he doesn't find a pick. So, first blood doesn't hurt either. Got some nades over the top of mid. Gonna be a little bit of a meeting out. I wonder what Helios was thinking he was gonna catch in that timing. They had no assistance at all, and RHH are shifting their focus over towards B. They lost one in towards the back. But RHH are just throwing caution in the wind. I mean, this is just so weird that even Ryu has nowhere to go. He misses the timing inside of it. I don't even think he saw Aomin leave wood. That was weird.
Bomb has been planted.
I cannot believe the route that RHH was taking to get in a site here. It's a total fair play. I mean, why not? Just throw different looks at PBM, totally confuse them in the search and destroy. Astral will find pump fake, so makes this easier. That's the player directly on the site gone, so you'll now have control of the site. It's a little bit weaker here. But still, PBM have to win these gunfights. Snipes from Astral, not that great. Whiffs a couple of shots here. HBC going to take Kiliak down on the cut as well, and you know where the last remaining player is. You can strengthen the two sides that Astral could possibly come from in this situation. Machine Pistol not going to be good enough, and the HSO will close out the round. RHH, that is a bold, bold start to that round.
So that should never work. Like, just the push through wood, first blood, just wrap back through tires, short. Why not? All right, RHH, 2-0 lead, getting aggressive back through the middle of the map. The Smokes are going to shroud their push inside a trailer. There are 2 players in here. Helios going to be able to at least find that trade with the Machine Pistol, but yeah, I mean, the shotgun, he's got a pump beat, able to find at least a couple more pellets in the damage. Kiliak does fine too, but it's all just fun, it seems, for PBM until Ryu finds himself in a 1v1. Winnable?
He's just been seen. Amy's going for the reach out. Ryu's going to run right out to the line of sight, but Amy actually doesn't peek at that time. So they might pass each other like 2 ships in the night here, unless the jump chow comes through from Amy. Ryu backs away in towards Tin. And now this 1v1 will go extended just by virtue of the fact that neither saw the other. Amy still needs to grab that bomb. We'll choose to get it down over by A, and Ryu's playing this one super, super passively.
Yeah, that's the right call, right? Want to clear everything, play for the retake. There comes the bomb plant. Aomin's got a Machine Pistol, plus the sniper, and it's planted all the way to the backside of bathrooms, which is exactly where he's going from. Ryu has the read. Can he catch the timing?
Yeah, you got to check this. This is going to be so, so difficult. It's worth saying that the jump out from Amin has to be good. Can't whiff these shots. Gonna draw Ryu out though. On the way. Just seen each other. Now looking for the snipe. Amin gets hit marker. Gets it done with a Machine Pistol to close out the round. Ryu has to sprint a hell of a distance there to get that retake going. It's the correct call from Amin.
Yeah, it sure is. But I mean, like, even when it felt like it was most winnable and RHH are just full sprinting at PBM in the 1v1, still makes the right decision. Aomin with the sniper for the clutch situation on the backside of that bathroom's peak. So here comes a banana push out of RHH. All the aggression has worked out so far. They found almost every single first blood. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's a fact. Ryu will find that first blood, but does get immediately traded. So this is going over towards B. You even have a really good cross on this as well.
They do. That being said, they've not exactly been successful at stopping this bomb plant from going down, even with the man advantage. RHH know that they can even the odds here by getting that rock down, but you've just lost aim inside sight, so now this becomes infinitely more difficult. You do have to change tack ever so slightly. Shots out from HBC, not good enough. You really need to win that fight to create some space. A pump fake on this reach out. And now he has to run into no man's land. Somehow actually is being given a lot of space here. Nobody has seen him. Surely somebody, I was going to say, Kiliak was looking directly at him. I don't know how pump fake survives for as long as he does that.
Yeah.
Kiliak will finally close out that round.
Finally get PBM up on the board as well. Definitely a much better look than 4-0, I'll tell you that much, but is it the start of something new? We'll have to see. Nades back over to the top. RHH not going back over towards that B push. They're going back over towards A, but it's just easy adaptations. Kiliak just lurking inside a trailer, lines up an easy 2. Aomin finds the trade, but it's a 2v4 now.
And PBM have gotten a lot better at these early trades now. For the last couple of rounds, it's worth saying that Fire and Range is one of the more offensively sided search and destroy maps, so taking these defenses away is important. But now it's all down to pump fake. It's a position he's been in before. Obviously, being the sniper is going to be the player furthest pushed back. We'll get one freebie against Ryu. Immediate trade potential coming up from Kiliak, who will be sat in that corner. Also, players now watching the cross as well. The comm's been made. Kiliak's not going to act on that information. Instead, is playing patiently. Probably for the best, considering there is a high chance that you do get pumped out of the round by pump fake. He is just on the hunt for every single angle possible. It's time for a long wrap here, proper.
Hey, he's got the time to do it, right? Just sub 60 seconds. LW3 Tundra, if you can get the quick scope on this first player inside the tires, it would be big. Misses the quick scope. And that's the alarm bells. Here comes Astral back through mid. And Pump Fake had a really good look, maybe to be able to get that quick scope. Had a read on the second, but did not know where the third was. But yeah, that was probably going to be Pump Fake's best look to maybe try to clutch out that 1v3. Not going to happen at all. So PBM, how about that? Win back-to-back rounds. They bring this within one. They have a really good opportunity to make this an even half.
All sorts of utility over the top now. RHH, I think, a little bit more focused in the last couple of rounds where maybe they felt more disjointed. It's worth saying they haven't cleared out Trailer Park just yet. No presence through the middle of the map, so they do need to take Kiliak out of this position. Kiliak converts for 2 kills. That's a big double for Kiliak. That is trailer control now. RHH can no longer get bombed down unless they can get some more kills through. That bomb now down. Pump fake. Now looking for some more kills. They have to take him out, and they do exactly that. Now the last place you got to check is Bathroom Stalls. Aiming is not long for this world. That is a brilliant retake from PBM. And for all the crap we'll give Kiliak through the respawns, he is showing up in S&D.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, you get an SMG inside a trailer, it's firing range at the end of the day. I mean, through so many different metas, we've seen like the Fennec, the USS-9, R90 shotgun, like so many different weapons. You get inside a close quarter combat inside a trailer, and Kiliak can just hold irons. It's very easy to set up a lot of good eliminations, and that's exactly what PBM do. The retakes over by A ties things up, so we switch sides. Now for PBM's offense here, a lot to do for Sushi on the backside of this B-bomb side. That nade should find good damage. It comes up short, but he still goes 1 for 1.
Maybe you've been so good on these initials. So much better over the last 3 rounds, and it continues to be so in this one. You take a 1-for-1 trade, and bomb going down. Audio Q, I think, to draw out potential close player from Rushes. Flanking play being caught out, but HBC's going to win that fight. Also, car bomb goes off. Aiming going to take Astro out of the play. HBC able to double up. Now all of a sudden, Sanger, 1 versus 4, can only deal with the first kill. Has to retreat back towards the side. RHH makes that retake work, and HBC plays a huge part.
Yep. Really, really good retake right there. And I mean, you could try to work over towards the B-bomb side, but you even saw it from PBM's perspective when they were on their defensive side. I mean, just trying to work that plant in a post-plant situation for the exits, the crosses, and then the angles to get pinched over by wood. It's just so hard to be able to execute. RHH make that retake happen with relative ease. So they have that 1-round lead once again. Now just 3 away from taking a 2-0 lead. Nade's going to get cooked up by Sushi. It's expecting somebody to maybe try to challenge over by Banana, but nobody from PBM are even thinking about challenging. They're expecting for RHH to overextend. Nobody's really giving them that opportunity. I mean, Aomi might get a little bit overextendy, but it's mostly just to get a egregious angle in the middle of the map. That bomb's starting to move over towards bathrooms now. Brody and PBM got to start thinking about where they need to go.
Oh, Helios! What a check from him. That was an ace in the hole for RHH. Now out of the round. HBC's advanced positioning was a problem. I'm not sure if he saw a gun or something, an audio cue, but a hell of a check. HPC, fish in a barrel, will be out of the round, and now PBM, all of a sudden, have a lot more options in this one. Have chosen to go towards B. That kill on towards HPC is probably going to give the idea to RHH that it is going to be an A here. Instead, now Sushi versus the world. On site. Nade down.
Oh, nade.
Will tag. Really well played. Tags 2 players all the way down to 10 HP. This slows us to a snail's pace, and it allows the rest of the squad to get over here in time. Sushi now activating for 2 kills. RHH all the way forward here. You've got the numbers, and it is a perfect play, but you're starting to lose them.
Rushes? Oh, no rushes. Okay, he's able to at least convert the 1. A 2v1. Now a 1v2. Rushes. He's got the R90 shotgun. They're aware of this, Brody. Just gotta play the angle. Don't scam.
Oh, nice. Brings it down to a 1 versus 1.
That's bombed down.
Now the last player's going to have the sniper rifle. You got to go. 10 seconds. RHH, 100% the better weapon for this situation. Rushes, turns away. The wrong position. Astral goes for the chow with the machine pistol. Does he have time? Yes, he does.
Way.
0 seconds on the clock. Astral makes the 1 versus 1. Rushes could not get away.
Why did he take the chow? No way. I thought he was going to book it around the corner. Maybe 0 seconds. Photo finish. Round number 9. All tied up. Sure. Back to square one. BBM. The backside of wood. Trying to play for that pick. Astral, though, off of their clutch. He's going to get bopped for first blood. HBC. No more funny business. Finds first blood plus an extra.
That's a round I'm going to be thinking about for a while. RHH, a lot of numbers already in this round. This round has fallen apart in front of our very eyes here, and now they're starting to force the issue as well. Perhaps even over-aggressive here. Riot will take those freebies. Rushes with the crossbow to close out the round. A little bit of BM against PBM as they will lose that one. RHH, first blood, solid.
Yeah. Hey, this is just, again, HBC just getting back up through the middle of the map, right? And it's a staple. Get a sniper inside of America. Get an SMG AR pushing up through the middle of the map. Fire range S&D, everybody. Here comes an AXQ, though, out of PBM. Fast and furious over towards A. RHH are very quickly rotating to try to pincer this as well, Brody. But PBM should quickly get this bomb planted to give themselves a winning condition.
You know exactly what you got to do, though. Get trailer park control. You've done that. We'll take a trade for it. Flanking play from HBC. Could still retake the site relatively easy here. Ryu is not looking in that direction. Has way too much look at here. Helios sat in the opposite corner, though. Good for the kill against Sushi. Good for the kill against AME. And good for the kill against HBC. Just one more player to contend with. They thought that Ryu was isolated inside that trailer. No, he's got a friend. And it's a pretty powerful one.
All right. Just going back and forth, neck and neck. Ryu up to 11 kills. HBC up to 12. Back down towards Banana we go. Nades right over the top. They know that Sushi's going to be playing on the backside of the tires here, but look at all the space that HBC is connecting with all the way over towards Wood. Sushi needs help. Dead nade? No.
And you've now got side control. This becomes a little bit difficult here for RHH to retake. They're actually giving their aiming and Russia's pretty looks here. Russia's just not that great with the shots, though. And that really should be the round at this point, short of something spectacular from the snipes on RHH. Of course, the Tundra is powerful at any range. It's not good enough. Just not quick enough for the scope there. Aiming will find Sanger, but at this point, it really is chipping away at something I don't think you're going to break through. 15 seconds on the clock. Aiming probably knows it as well. He will get in towards sight and just hops on the defuse to try and drag any players out. Amy is finding some frags here, but again, it just feels like you're dragging out the inevitable PBM opening bloods. That is a confident look from them.
Yep, sure is. Just brilliantly executing back over towards that bomb site, just not even giving RHH a single glance to get their feet underneath them. Now just one round away from tying up this best of 5 series, and RHH got to be shooketh. They're coming back towards that AXQ. Nades over the top aren't landing. HBC inside of Wood again. He got blooded here this time around. Not going to be the case. He's not finding anything. And PBM are a little bit late to pick up this flank and gives HBC that easy first blood.
Players on both sides of the site here for RHH. This round is far from over, especially now that you've got the kill against Sanger. Bow into the open. Rushes gives away for freebie. Sushi also not that great on the retake and towards trailer. All of these players are here, and you're now hoping that they cross the line of sight of HBC, but he just can't find any. Finally finds Kiliak. Now looking to get Ryu down to the rights as well. Just one more player. Helios in the corner has been a problem before. Now one player on the bomb, though, and it does go through for the defuse. Amin sticking to his guns and sticking to the defuse. Helios, they got to keep on checking that corner, man. That's the second time he's done that.
For real. It's just inside a trailer more than anything. RHA just need to wake up and try to figure things out as we go extra innings into overtime. Back towards the offense out of RHH we go. Looking for the wall bangs for Aomin. Trailer has been a big problem for them. They're headed back.
Nice nade from Sushi. Trades things out in RHH's favor here. We'll take a 3v3. Pump fake. Very far removed here, and I think that could be a problem for PBM. Helios wanted to take him down, not able to do so. Can Astral get it done? Has the machine pistol in hand right now. Pump fake decides to take a different route here. Ryu might be getting a freebie. Aiming wasn't quite ready for that fight. Now potentially will be. Ryu's going to win it, but gets immediately traded out, and you know where Astral is. The call should be made by Pump Fake sitting in the corner, and Astral's not going to expect that. So RHH gets site control. Mid map control from Pump Fake is good enough to win the round.
Yep, and the biggest adaptation comes through. It's the late nade out of Sushi, right? You get two players that try to double chow inside a trailer. You see the two heads playing that head glitch, but it's the late nade out of Sushi that finds the inevitable trade to let alone the damage to be able to take that site as cleanly as they did. Side swap again. PBM need to convert an offense to try to extend it to a couple more rounds. Nades over the top. They know that HBC has been pushing through mid continuously, so Helios is going to play this angle. HBC gives away that information, but he needs to try to stay alive.
Yeah, HBC is doing such a good job at the moment through the middle of the map. Giving PBM no breathing space whatsoever. I would not get over-aggressive here from HBC, though. He's going to kind of kill.
not?
And I will say, I was only going to say that only because of the fact that I expected an immediate trade out of PBM. That hasn't happened. Finally, Ryu will take HBC down. But Sushi is going to pick up exactly where HBC left off. Will immediately get traded out by Kiliak. So finally, they've put a stop to the bleeding early on this round. Goes down a 3 versus 3, but it doesn't really change things in terms of map control. RHH is still pushed firmly up.
And they think that B might be open because Sushi's dead. Pump fake, he's playing inside of the drop down. Trigger discipline, it's not going to be there. He finds the first. Astral thinks that he can find the trade. And Pump fake just drops down, thinks that maybe he can find a second, but it's not going to be. 2v2. They know it's going towards B, and they got an angle on it.
Oh, nice snipe from Amin. Second, not quite there. Instead, he gets tagged up, has to back away. Astral has both weapons to work with here. XM4 and the Tundra in the back pocket, picked up for the dead body. Astral gonna get shut down by Rushers, who calls game in overtime. RHH contested there in search and destroy, but in the end, able to get it done.
Didn't even matter in the end, man. I mean, we reached overtime all for what? HBC overextending through mid on the defensive half for all the funny business of nothing, man. I mean, like, when it comes down to it, that was a really good adaptation. I will say this much. I mean, Sushi was trying to do everything that he could possibly do on the defensive side. So if you're RHH, you probably need to keep that as a feather in your cap when you go up against other teams on firing range, search and destroy. You just got to rotate sooner, man. If you're going to get HBC up to the middle of the map and Sushi is the lone defender over by B, we got to get some help over there a lot sooner. If you don't see any information in the middle of the map for HBC, start sprinting over towards B to help out Sushi, not go 1-for-1, or at least being able to get some numbers, but you can't ask them to do what you just saw in that one highlight continuously. But I digress. I think that PBM had a lot of good opportunities kind of given to them with the overextensions that RHH were continuously doing. It is the staple of Call of Duty Mobile that a team that just blindly rushes inside a tin and a head glitch with a USS-9 or any gun for that matter will probably get mowed down if they don't chow it correctly, and that seemed to have been the case. 8-6 is the map number 2. HBC leading the entirety of the lobby, albeit by 1 kill at 16 and 12.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's not that impressive for KD ultimately. 16 and 12, you kind of go positive, but still, it's the fact that he is consistently finding value in every single round, consistently in positions that are benefiting RHH. Perhaps over-aggressive a touch at times, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as it works out. Shout out to Kiliak, by the way, as well, because, again, you know, we gave him a lot of crap for the hard point performance. Wasn't that great. He comes in here and actually. What's
this all we know? No. What's this all we know? All
right, I'll own it. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop trying to rope me in with it, man.
Okay. Listen. I need to see more Kiliak in the respawns. That's all I need to see. And he needs to turn up in this control on raid, because this is going to be a difficult one, I think, for PBM now. You're 2-0 down in this series proper. You got to win one more map, and you will be gravy. Going on to face Vanquish. What a prize, by the way. Honestly, you win this one, you're like, hey, by the way, so next up you guys got to play Vanquish. Have fun with that.
That's like it's like winning a carnival game and your prize is the hot chip challenge. Like, did you win, son? But honestly speaking, like if you're looking for like the comparison in between all of the series going in towards raid control, it's not looking good for PBM here, fam, isn't it, bro? I mean, like, you got to get some kills, and raid control literally calls for the opening break off to be as demanding as the rest of the map needs to be. Sushi starts off with 2. Ryu's there for 2 of their own, and PBM, how about that? They won the opening break off, Brody.
That's pretty good now.
All right.
To force the issue as well. I love to see this. Ryu goes all the way up towards driveway. Will get shut out for it. But they continue to plug the holes here. Kiliak does get shut down through the middle of the map. So RHH off the back of these smokes as well will be able to get a touch towards this point. But they are losing every single gunfight right now. Rush is the only one in that collective to find any value whatsoever. The problem though, for PBM on the defense here is they've invested so heavily into holding on towards B. They've only got 1 player on the defense towards A. Nobody pushed up that bedroom sides means that close spawns will be good for RHH. And this is problematic. Ryu has to win the gunfight, not able to do so.
24 v 17, and that opening break off is still cementing itself with a very nice lead, but RHH shifting their focus, rushes inside of money window now and looking to push inside the kitchen. Didn't have any assistance, but lets his teammates kind of stranded over by A. It's just one player that is working on the A zone capture right now, Brody, and it's working very slowly, but the second segment captured nonetheless.
Yeah, you got to reach out here. If you're PBM, you can't just sit there, and the problem is you're going straight into the L triggers of RHH. They're ready to go. Helios going to invest the Predator missile. That's not a bad investment whatsoever. Ryu through open steps will find 2. Aiming the last one left alive, and he cannot get the gunfight, but does get the capture. So despite the investment from PBM, it's not good enough. That is the A zone gone. And we saw this yesterday, I believe it was, where it doesn't necessarily guarantee you a round win. You still have to kind of go through the struggle of capturing B, but B is significantly easier to get than A.
It sure is, especially if you can get that kill inside of laundry and get into the backside of the laundry steps. Aomin thinking just that. Nade cooked up, heated inside of laundry. Does it find the kill? No, it does not, but still space nonetheless. You got a player on the bottom side of the drop. Aomine left alive, almost able to at least knock down the 2, but 11v4, you think that PBM's got this one on lock.
Yeah, it's the life problem right now for RHH, trying to throw a curveball. Pump Fake gonna have to back away here. There is absolutely no way that Pump Fake survives this. Actually, I think with positioning here, might well have outplayed Helios. Looking for the full regen, doesn't quite get there in time. So Helios will win that gunfight with ease. RHH, their flank has already been dealt with. It's all down to rushes, 1 versus 10. This would be a generational play if he could get it done. And they are kind of going at him individually here, so he's getting some freebie kills, but I gotta imagine the dream's gonna end soon, and it will. So RHH, they might well get A, but B is solidly held by PBM. So that's a pretty standard round all in all on the defense.
Yeah, sure was. Able to get those 3 segments, and it's really that opening breakoff that benefits all of PBM, and now we get the old razzle-dazzle of a round 2 control here on Raid. How many operators are we about to pull here in the opening salvo as far as ring is concerned? So far, none actually being ripped. Here they come onto the defensive side, though.
Big defensive play coming out from RHH. They want a flawless start to this one. And they will, for the most part, get it here. They haven't lost a single life. Aomine comes through for 3. Helios immediately trades back with the SKS, though. Or the Type 63, excuse me. Now looking for more kills. HBC on the point will win a gunfight from downrange. Pump Fake for the middle cut now. Trying to play his life. Will get some value. PBM pushed all the way back, but they're soon going to face the same problem that PBM did in the last round. Players from PBM looking to make their way towards A. That is being plugged by Pump Fake. You're winning all the gunfights across the board here from RHH. They have made the adaptations necessary. Pump Fake pushed all the way forward. Will finally get shut down, and now PBM have options here.
Sure do. Look at all the operators with their options as well, Brody. They only trail by 3 lives, but they're looking for one good opening, maybe through open steps. Got one player lurking inside of Art currently, and he's going to be able to find Sushi, who was trying to maybe create a little bit of a chaos out of their way through driveway. Will be traded, though. The push is still happening over by the pool side, and PBM still trying to manifest numbers, but they're losing these gunfights. They don't know where RHH are located at as they wipe them off the map again.
This is fine. If you're RHH, you've got a 5 life advantage. No ticks given away just yet. PBM. Super individual here on the pushes as well. Finally, a couple of players on towards the point. There goes Sanger, though. Iliak trying to play his life. That's not going to happen. Russia's looking to convert for 3. Will not get that. Fortunately enough, there are more RHH players left to go. 5 seconds on the clock here for PBM. You've lost your last player on towards the point, and things have looked kind of splintered on the offense. PBM have done nothing to get towards either of these 2 points, and that is a flawless defensive effort from RHH. To be honest, I think by way of the fact that PBM never really felt like they had a focused push on either of the points.
No, and again, you mostly get through that opening breakoff, right? I mean, look at all the operators that PBM are still sitting on. It's that cerebral call that I was talking about back on P3 in the map number 1, Brody. Pull out some of these damn operators, man. We got to see some space being created. Or you can just do it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, that works too. My bad.
PBM win the first wave of gunfights. No operators required here. Nicely done. Now looking to get some mid-push. But again, it's that same problem, right? You've now committed in towards a full B hold here. RHH, I mean, should pretty much be able to just stack the point and get a gun before PBM even get a defensive look at this one. There's only one player on the point here for the moment. Instead, they've opted to try and keep an eye on every single cut. That is a big gamble to take, though. PBM wouldn't have got there if they had chosen to stack the point. Now they're starting to lose some of the gunfights here. Ryu on the run. Rushes will deal with players coming through money window. Astral finds Sushi for free. And effectively, I mean, you do have one player, Rushes, just keeping an eye on this one point of entry in which PBM are trying to defensively hold on towards a point. He is getting all of these kills for free, whips out the Gravity Vortex gun, gonna get shut down, and in doing so, does not get that A capture through. Not the end of the world, though, because PBM invested on the defense in towards A. That's opened things up towards B for RHH.
It sure has. 17 plays up against 21, second segment locked over at A. I mean, at this point, the round 5 defense was already chalked. You'd have to imagine off the full hold of the defense, but you got to somehow stop this if you are PBM. Literally stop it over by Ring. Trying to push a little bit up through driveway. USS-9 is a very good weapon, but yeah, would love this angle a whole lot more. Sees the second inside of Art. There's still a lot more presence for RHH on that side. They're starting to flip it on the opposite. Got a lot of Ring presence if you are PBM. You should know that that's just flip the spawns and be parallel over towards A, but they're late to realize it.
RHH have done such a good job here.
Sure have.
Constantly flipping the map against PBM. They might well be down 6 points, but their objective play has been solid. There goes A once again. PBM have opted to hold on towards B time and time again. And now RHH here going to start to invest a couple of operators in towards this play. The Annihilator for HBC, Sushi with the equalizers. HBC going to pick one player off the top of the ring. Player push forward in towards R. If you could deal with Sanger, that's huge. On the other side, Sushi looking to put the screws in, but doesn't find anything. HBC's Annihilator now out of play as well. And Pump Fake might well find two, but you really need to find some more value. Pump Fake now looking for the players coming off the spawn, though. Can he get anything? No! Shut down with a melee from Astral, of all things. And now RHH have to do this through the front.
This is the Roman Empire. Astral. What? Man's got a javelin.
Smoke out.
Still got good ring control here. 10v5. I mean, this round is definitely winnable if you are PBM, but it's also so very losable, might I add. Aomi and Pump Fake, they got operators. Pump Fake's down for the count. Trades can still be coming through, perhaps. And, well, that's a healthy wave of gunfights if you ask me. Now you just got to hop on the zone.
Nobody from PBM is even close here. You got to go. You just take the point. Honestly, I don't even know why Sushi's in this advanced position. Might be able to catch some players off guard, but just get on the point. Second tick now through. Somebody from PBM's got to go. They've got to get past Sushi, Ryu, cut down. Sanger through the middle of the map will find a little bit of value. Team shots that Helios will be able to capitalize on. They're putting themselves out in the open. Sushi now for a flanking play. Aiming, finding kills. Aiming down for the count, but Sushi wins the 1 versus 1. Helios down. And that is a round for RHH that PBM kind of let slip. They had a huge life advantage there.
And I would just, as your tour guide, I would like to point everybody's attention to the top left side of the screen.
Yep.
As we have tons of circles being filled on the PBM side. Why are we not pulling these operators? Where were the operators at, man? Got the invitation, came through 2 weeks ago, and the wedding was last year. Like what are we doing? 29 v 29, opening break off, even Stevens. They're working their way over towards it. I think PBM are just defeated at this point, man. Like, they're just not pulling operators out. Got the War Machine pulled for Aomin.
Yeah.
A capture at least being worked on, but PBM are not taking space.
Enemy taking Alpha.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for the gunfights to come to them at this stage, and you do have to pull out at least one operator. Just one operator to do something in this situation, because you're losing the gunfights. One player remains towards that A side, Astral. I don't think necessarily RHH expected another player still to be hanging about the joint. They finally will deal with him. And now Rive looking for players to come off the spawn. We'll have to change tact a little bit here. Instead of going for spawn kills, now has to get on towards the point. B presence has been dealt with by RHH in the defense here, and now you've dealt with the one player in Sushi that was over by A. Triple stack coming through from PBM. This A zone is about to go. Nades and utility over the top, and RHH have decided here to deal with it by letting A go for the most part. One player still sitting over in this position. Sushi, he was fighting for his life, bless him. Now Pump Fake on a potential late chow by setting up a spawn trap. RHH, they've got players all the way through, but this is such a risky call to make.
Pump Fake gonna get traded out though. 6 seconds added on towards the board, and Kiliak is still working on that B zone. Second segment was locked just by his lonesome. Got players on the backside of the jungle. And PBM are very confused as to where RHH are located at, because where they are located at makes absolutely negative sense. Helios does pull out the Death Machine though, so at least find a good amount of damage, but RHH are able to bounce back. Now they just got to full hold a single segment here at B.
It's a big ask, actually. All it takes is one good push from PBM. This might be it. Trade's looking pretty good, though, for RHH. You are down by a hell of a lot of lives, though. A 9 versus 17 to hold for 90 seconds. That is a lot of time. And a lot of different point of entries to watch. PBM have time to work this one, but Pump Fake catches a couple of players off guard trying to make their way through Art. And now we'll look to push the screws in towards the spawn as well. How much more damage can Pump Fake do? Helios will bring streaks out. Hunter Killer Drone and Predator Missile will take a couple of lives off the board. But Pump Fake, still the issue. Still the player you've got to take out of the play. Couple of kills more with the Purify. It's so damn frustrating to deal with. PBM cannot get past him.
Now, Paper Plane's going to find good damage on the Kiliak. Left him 1 HP. Helios going to get traded out as well. 4v8. PBM can still extend this to another round, Brody.
There's no way. Surely they don't want to 4v8.
If there's a will.
There might be a way. Taking Pump Fake out of the round, though. Every single kill that goes PBM's way, it feels like we're looking down the barrel of round 5. Nice cross-map shots from Helios. Take rushes out. Aomin and HBC now backed up, looking at totally different things. Aomin facing the full force of PBM. This round, short of HBC, whipping that Annihilator out to salvage it, is probably done. I would go for the kill here. I would not let this tick go through if I'm HBC, and he does indeed do exactly that. So tick doesn't go through. We are going to see a round 5. Fair play to PBM for winning that one.
Yeah, they didn't matter though. I mean, you got the 3 segments on the first round, the 5 segments on the second offensive attempt for RHH. So they should get the round 5 defense, and that is absolutely the case. So you got 2 operators rolling into towards this one. Aomine does have the War Machine. Expect to see that one ripped early here as the offensive salvo for PBM to maybe push it to a summit hard point is starting off over at A.
PBM. Now looking to get something going on A. RHH opting here for a push in. Flanking Kiliax. Purify does nothing. Huge shutdown on the other side. RHH finding some serious value with theirs. HBC going to get that Annihilator into play. One player to deal with towards basketball, and you've taken Sanger out. You will get caught out from behind from Astral, but that is A done. No captures through whatsoever for PBM. Now, though, they're able to get some movement on towards B. Nobody from RHH will stop those driveway spawns. So it is going to be an immediate stack here towards B. Just one player potentially deal this on the defense. It's Sushi who has to shoot through the smoke and isn't going to get anything for it. This B point might well just be gone.
It is? Completely gone. HPC looking for exits. USS 9 is going to be good for at least one, but there's still players hanging around white van. Got another one over by the black van just in front of the laundry window. But HPC is going to start to manifest some push over by driveway. If you walk away with that one versus saying I lose full, but doesn't walk away with anything whatsoever. And now RHH are kind of stranded. I mean, you got a 1v1 over into the backside of the bedroom stairs. That's a big win for Pump Fake. That at least means that you sent all PBM back towards spawn, but that could have gotten hairy very, very quickly, depending on how the exits from Ring looked for PBM. Hello?
Yeah, I love this positioning from Pump Fake. Spawns push further out. PBM do take Pump Fake down, though. They knew that was a big gunfight because now you're getting closer spawns towards that A zone. Rushes, keeping an eye downrange, looking for more kills. These are some tasty shots with the XM4 from Rushes. The smoke is going to make things more awkward, but an easy reposition here from Rushes will now close that gap. PBM going to have to take another wrap around here. And you've got players from RHH ready for HBC, sat inside Art, Sushi on ring side. HBC, can he do anything? No. Big shutdown. PBM here are having to waste a lot of time going the opposite direction here. That's down to the fact that people are watching that bedroom side.
Yeah, it sure is. Got operators still, though, if you are PBM and you only trail by 2 lives. The biggest problem is going to be the clock. Rushes does get their operator online. Death Machine pop by Helios, trying to push inside a kitchen, but I just feel so hollow, right? Yeah, I mean, double chow, reuse here now with the equalizer, Astral now for the Sparrow, and it just feels so desperate, but it works out. Ryu finds 2, rushes with the Gravity Vortex gun, shuts down inside a kitchen. He gets killed. PBM can push up now.
Now getting pushed from behind as well. Ryu wants to call this game, wants to stay alive. Might well have just done exactly that. Players still to be dealt with inside the basketball court. Sushi has the best possible operator for this play. Can he get the kills though? No, has too many points to check on towards the point. Rushes also now goes 1 by 1, and RHH are getting totaled here. Long wrap coming through from Pump Fake. I don't think that's going to be relevant to the play queue whatsoever. Somebody from RHH, you got to get onto the point now, or you're going to lose this game, and that's exactly what happens. PBM, 3 operators at the same time is good enough to get onto the point, and RHH's reaction, less than desirable there.
It's just strange, right? I mean, like, you go back to, like, those first few rounds and, like, they were not pulling out operators whatsoever. Like, and then you go in their best moments was when they were coupling operators again. It's the core fundamentals of Call of Duty Mobile, y'all. And PBM were able to exemplify that there in the final few moments. And, I mean, you called it, right? You got the equalizer. It would be great for the 1v1 gunfight up close over in the bottom side of the wheelbarrow window, but not going to be expecting for the long angle to be watched on the bottom side of the open staircase. Got a player inside of Tiki, the backside of pool top bedroom. That was a really good fundamental execute out of PBM. And I don't mean that just over by A to end it. Also what we had through the opening salvo for the ring push as well. You get a player all the way through Zig, you get that pinch through pillars, you work the trades, and you get over towards ring. That 60 seconds came through very quickly, Brody, but it's how they slowly worked back off of their spawn. Get bedroom back in their favor. Okay, maybe we push through P5, middle of the map, great. Get inside a kitchen, get the trades. Death Machine had to get expunged just to get into the backside of jungle. But then once you get the 3 players set up, corner of wheelbarrow, inside of Tiki, open staircase, fundamental setup out of PBM. They lock things down and win back-to-back offensive rounds. And they make RHH look like clowns. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And in there's like minute decisions there in that final play as well, right? I don't know. I think it was Aomine that was making like a super long flank.
It would be Pump Fake, I'm pretty sure.
Right. I mean, either way, you've got a player making the longest flank in the world. Like, that is not going to be helpful. You could have opted to go through open stairs. Like, you did not need to go through bedroom side to make that play happen. Just small little plays like that, I think they'll be watching the VOD and being like, okay, very clearly we could have done something different there. And maybe the result will have been different. But I got to give PBM some props because they called game, ultimately. We were giving them a lot of stick for not using operators correctly. Was it in round 3 where they had like 5 operators and they just didn't use any of them in the entirety of the round when probably could have seen one and the round would have looked different. But in the end, they get it done. Fair play to PBM. They stay alive in this series.
Yep, sure do. And they push it to a summit hardpoint. Again, as far as this best of 5 map set is concerned, we have 3 stapled map mode combinations. This is going to be the third one. We got the firing range map 2, banger. Hacienda map 1, banger. Summit hardpoint. Wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, PBM has a good opportunity to maybe try to push this into a standoff search and destroy map number 5 here, Brody. And it just comes down to those core fundamentals. You think about Summit as a map. If you can couple along those operators on P1 for the second stint, could be great. If you can hold those back spawns for P3 and P4 and find good opportunities with these operators like equalizers and purifiers, could be great. Only time will tell.
We'll say we go back towards that game number 1, and it was a super close game between the two teams, especially during the first set of hills. So I think it's probably going to be par for the course for the entirety of the series here. Expect exactly what we expected coming into this one. So far, so good for PBM, though. Topside control, not that great. And almost immediately here, we actually see RHH take that top control and P1 control, but it goes all right. Kills starting to come through here for PBM. They are looking for the back 20 seconds, and they will get it. You can really feel the confidence right now in PBM. The way that they're playing these gunfights here proper, they're playing so much better as a team. That round 5 has given them a huge, huge burst of confidence.
Yeah, sure has. And you're starting to see it all pieced together really, really well. I mean, you get those upper windows controlled, get those upper hallways, and you get those railing control, and then you could maybe try to look at the rotation over towards P2, and that's exactly what PBM were trying to set up for themselves, but the RHH just got to try to reset themselves so slightly here. I mean, they're just sprinting at PBM, and they're really good setups as they win the rotation over towards Zoo. Just look at them. RHH are thinking maybe we play for the ski lift spawns, while the other 3 are trying to battle from the front, and PBM are just soaking up free time.
Yeah, this is a lot of time you're giving away right now. RHH going to find a way in sooner rather than later. HBC can't get it done. Nice kills from Kiliak. Punk fake. Attempted flank goes awry. You needed some tastier shots than that. You will at the very least draw one player in towards the middle of the map here. Got to win the gunfights around the front of the point, though. RHH will do that. On the very edge of the point right now. HBC pushed all the way forward. HBC lines 3 players up. They basically go straight into him. HBC cleaning 4 players out of the point. One more from up top as the jump down is made from PBM. Pump fake is the one will take Sanger out. But that play, that kills from RHH will give them the last 10 seconds of time. At the very least here, it is going to guarantee them first look at this rotation.
Yeah, sure is. That's what you need out of RHH. I mean, look at the scoreboard, man. 66-17. Again, everything on paper just does not mean a damn thing. Here comes Ryu, though, thinking that maybe the early equalizer could break inside of P3. Not going to be the case at all. RHH are going to hold, and they have operators to do so.
Just got to be careful about potential flanking plays here. Doing exactly that. Pumpfake has a hell of a job to do, by the way. He's watching both the front of the hardpoint and the side. Rushes is here, but the help from Pumpfake is the reason that they win some of these opening engagements. AME now push forward through the cup. A rogue spawn starts to come through. Helios spawning in the backline. HBC, I don't necessarily know if he's recognized this. They have. They're taking those players out towards the front of the point, though. Rush is overwhelmed. Sushi good for the trade. HBC now going to pick up those side. Ryu's trying to take some shots from afar, and HBC will clean those players out. So RHH basically flawless on the whole of P2 here. And a nice little spawn trip. A spawn flip will be the cherry on the top of this hard point here as PBM now starting to spawn out. A couple of players towards the new hard point. Astral, the last one. Trying to play this positioning to perfection. We'll take HBC down here, but RHH, this is a great rotation from them. That is super unfortunate on those spawns, proper.
I mean, just about a full 60 there. PBM break in towards the tail end, but what was it, like 66-15 going in towards P3, now 76-62, and PBM get the spawn flip at the utmost wrong time, but it may not matter. They break back in. Sanga's got the claw. That's a good bolster to this break attempt, and PBM are going to be able to not only flip the spawns, but are able to maintain presence, not to mention how they get the initial 20.
PBM will hold. Solid that they're able to do it. Now operators starting to come out from both sides here. A means War Machine is probably going to be the biggest of the lot. Helios towards the backline though, gets things done with the Death Machine towards the point. Astral actually gets cut down by Rushes. For some reason wasn't quite ready for it. Rushes now inside, needs to be traded out, and they will. So Sanger for 2, Ryu will find the third and final kill. And RHH still trying to find their way through the front of the point, not able to do so. So some solid operators there from PBM. A means War Machine does not, and it means that PBM will be able to fight back and hold on to their advantage in this game.
Yep. Back in towards the pit we go of P1. Got operators to use. Predator missile out from Senga just for some good information, but RHH are in possession of the middle of the map. PBM are trying to work their way back inside of the hill. And I'll tell you this much, what PBM did so well on that first set, especially from P1 to P2, and I want to see it again. They're already starting to do it right now, Brody. It's that upper area control. They get that upper window first, and it works out all so well from them. But the difference in between the first and the second set, well, Rushes has a gravity vortex gun, and you can't just walk inside close quarters like that.
Well, it is going to expire, so now they need to do it the old-fashioned way with their gunnies. Sushi dealt with up top now. Russia is going to bring that Predator missile down almost immediately here, but unfortunately does get shut down. PBM have waltzed through the front door. Pump Fake has a lot to do here. A couple of players to take down. Somehow gets away with the first kill, surely not the second. No. Shots into the knee will not be good enough to take Sanger out of the play, but Rushes is right there to pick up the slack from his teammate. Now we look towards that top side, and HBC trying to cut the problem off as its source. Astral is good enough for the shutdown from Rushes, but as that player goes down, PBM now able to get through from that top side, and that will be scrap for PBM, so they'll maintain a slight advantage here. As we go into P2, it should be RHH's top first.
Very
nice
weird
Rushes.
looking spread of the feed, and that's because Rushes was just lurking under the backside of P4, the north side of P4, excuse me, just calling it that Predator missile where he finds a triple kill with one missile, but still PBM off the bounce back are able to find themselves another successful kill feed. They lead by 33 points. Here comes the P2 attempt. RHH currently in possession of the time, but they're more worried about making sure that they don't lose the spawns over towards New. And it's causing a certain amount of chaos that allows PVM to try to pick back up from the scraps. Sushi with the equalizer gets shut down, and PVM can continuously keep the scrappy with the lead that they have.
Yeah, this should be a scrappy hardpoint on the whole from both of these teams.
Yeah.
RHH getting time off this would not be great for PBM. Nice play from Sushi to take Ryu out of the play. PBM looking to try and scrap their way in towards a potential spawn flip here. They could find the last 15 seconds in towards this time. That would be great as well, but Rushes is holding this angle down. PBM, you got to try and find a way through sooner rather than later. You can't just sit there watching him. On the other side, potential flanking play in towards those P2 spawns is going down, but the numbers are good for RHH, so they will hold. Now P2 spawns here, currently down in this game. Operators starting to come into play as well. HBC's Annihilator gets taken out of the play. Now, if you're aiming towards the backline, you know that PBM are going to be on their way. You just got to win these fights and take them down. HBC gets cut down. Rushes now needs to reposition with the Gravity Vortex gun, but you can't do that. You got to be watching the front of the point. Fortunately enough, you've got teammates for the most part that are winning these fun gunfights. Ryu now the only one towards the backline left to deal with.
And Ryu's all the way into the backside of blue. He's pulling players to try to deal with him and towards the front, and it should allow PBM to try to work their way forward the front. And Astral's going to pull out the spare to maybe try to bolster that attempt, but here comes the spawn flip finally. You can deal with it. If you are RHH, so long as you can hold it from the front, and Rushes is trying to do all of that. R9 shotgun, the right gun for the cause, and is able to at least set up his teammates there for the trades all from the front. RHH have flipped the lead. PBM spent way too long trying to fight for the spawns and towards the back, and now RHH not only with that lead, they can just waltz their way over towards New.
Yeah, that is a solid hard point. We know that P2 control is pivotal to a win here on Summit Hardpoint. Also, making sure you got your rotations locked down as well. Last time around, RHH should get broken pretty much straight away. Same thing might happen once again here, but it's Rushes and Pump Fake that win the majority of the gunfights. Astral trying to make his way up that snow side. Will find value against one. HBC trying to play it in and around this corner, dipping and diving around the players, but the dodging will not be good enough. Purify from Kiliak also shut down. Has not been so great with that Purify so far in this game. Maybe Helios can do anything with the Death Machine. No! As HBC doubles up. Back spawns here still good for RHH as they're looking to hold on.
Yeah, trying to Purifier out of Pump Fake. Just trying to hold this a little bit from the front. 184 to 163. 30 seconds left to fight over here. And PBM are trying to set up a little bit of a pinch, and that's causing RHH to try to keep their heads on a swivel. Purifier is still available for Pump Fake, and he's still finding a lot of good damage. In towards the time, doesn't even matter. RHH about to be over 200 points.
And this is going to be something I think we look back to. If RHH do win this game, it's the moment where they did so.
Yeah.
Huge P2 to P3 rotation from RHH. P3 to P4, excuse me, as now RHH looking for mid-map control, so you can win these opening engagements. Astral is currently holding it down for PBM. Is he going to be ready for the gunfight versus Rushes? No, certainly not ready for that one. Rushes has been on an absolute tear this game. 36 kills to their name, and will continue to do so here. All of the utility now starting to come into play as well. It's not quite perfect for RHH towards this point, but right now they are holding down every single angle. Rushes trying to get the kills with the Gravity Vortex gun. Does exactly that. Astral up top. Helios as well. There's a ton of targets, and Rushes is the player to take these guys down. Another one with the R9 as well. Rushes on 6 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, Rushes is the most equipped individual for all of these gunfights, right? You go back over towards P3, R9, shotgun, also has the Gravity Vortex gun. Back over towards P1, same exact artillery, 216 to 178. And PBM are starting to reel. They have no operators left to be pulled. Rushes has another Predator missile for kill number 42. RHH starting to stampede their way all the way towards the finish line, 216 and counting all the way up. They got spawns for P3.
Oh, Rushes.
They're about to be getting in towards the scrappiness that is P2, and they are rallied behind Rushes, who is just finding electric kill after kill. Him and HBC are at a combined 85 eliminations, Brody.
That is crazy. Rushes, 44 to his name alone. Now looking for more. If you're going to have any player go off on this hard point, it's probably going to be Rushes, because up close and personal, this R9 does hella damage. Spawn flip has been recognized by RHH. Rushes the player to do it. He's going to hold the same angle as before. Pre-fire from Amin as well. It's going to make things even better. It's a blue kill feed. RHH want to get the game done here. All they got to do is one more wave of gunfights. The Astral, Sparrow, not that great. Amin's long-range War Machine bullets good enough. And Sushi now going to bring the equalizers in to try and get this game done. Just one more player. It's all good. RHH, they win the fights here. PBM, one more flanking play. Astral, is it good enough? No, you get caught out by HBC. RHH have done it. They move forward in the bracket. The final 3 hard points from them, absolutely superb.
Yeah, I mean, we got to start a dialogue potentially as far as the raid control is concerned. But yeah, man, I mean, besides, like, what would you say, like P1, P2 in the first set of hard points, like RHH never looked back soon afterwards. Fundamentals were at an all-time high. Slaying was just at an all-time high. Realistically, I mean, it's just got to be everything to do with Rush, right? I mean, Rush, you felt like that when you needed the Gravity Vortex gun, it was there. When you needed the R9 shotgun to be close quarters in that choke point, it was always there. The teamwork was at an all-time high there for RHH, especially towards the latter half of that first set of hardpoints and then soon afterwards. But, I mean, they kind of got smacked in the face walking away from that map number 3. I thought we were for sure going to that standoff map number 5, especially with how we saw PBM playing the upper decks of P1 going in towards P2. They had a really good rotation over towards P3, but then you got to see some shades of the shortcomings of the map number 1. PBM late to rotation, late to work the pinches. RHH quick to work the kill feed, and it is just the Rushes show. 48 and 28. That is a hell of a stat line, and HBC had a great series as well, Brody. He'll finish the Summit HP at 41 and 36.
Yeah, for me, it's not even necessarily the 48 kills. It's the 3 minutes and 24 seconds inside hardpoint. The fact of the matter is, Rushes was always in there. Summit is one of those hardpoints that plays so much into R9 players, close-range gunfights, and Rushes is going to win those all day long.
I mean, RHH showed up. That was huge. Absolutely knocking PBM out of the competition. You know, they no longer have a shot at the challenge finals, and RHH had to put in the work to make sure they move through, and it does not get any easier. We said this before we headed into this first match. Now they will have to face off against Vanquish proper, and there's no time to rest between it either.
Best of luck and best wishes for RHH going forward. Hey, look, Vanquish is going to be a really tough squad, right? I mean, they beat Queens 3-0 just to qualify for this entire escapade. Like, yeah, they lost to Animus. They played the map 1 very close, but I think that if you're RHH, you're going to have to hope that every single hot hand is ready and plus some more going into Vanquish, because you were the faster team here. I don't know if the same is going to be said for the upcoming best of 5.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun way to close out EU, because this will be the last match of the challenge season here. So, I mean, I can't believe we've gotten to that point already, but it should be a good one regardless. RHH a little bit warmed up. We'll see if that helps at least, while Vanquish has been kind of waiting in the wings, watching to see who they would be facing off against. Now they know, and they've got a couple minutes for these teams to kind of figure out their picks and bans and see what we're going to get in this final series. So while our teams do that, we're going to give them a few minutes, which means it's time for us to send it to a short break. So don't go anywhere. You're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here today as we prepare to head into our second match of the day, our final match of the day, and our final match of the entire challenge season to determine the last squad making their way through to the challenge finals. We've swapped up our casters. We're bringing in Ton for the final match of the day. So, Ton, you got to see the first one. Give me your quick thoughts on what we saw out of PBM and RHH.
A scrappy one, to say the least. Both these two teams coming into though have really got it up against them, whatever that was going to happen between them two. But RHH deserved winners in the end. But yeah, they will definitely need to step it up here in their next matchup.
Yeah, so let's start talking about this matchup. Okay, they don't have a lot of time. They just had the 8-minute break to really kind of reset, get those picks and bans through, and start focusing on this next matchup. But we've mentioned it quite a bit. They're now facing off against Vanquish, Brody, and this is kind of a monster of a team for them to go up against.
Yeah, Vanquish are a really good team. Again, you know, coming into this group, I think we kind of immediately identified like Animus and Vanquish are the guys to watch out for. This is a team that back in Open Finals, Vanquish upset a lot of people. They took out Queens, one of the rosters that, you know, it's so massive that they're not here in the competition, and they continued that presence through into their first couple of matches of the challenge season. We already talked at length kind of what they did against PBM. They just completely dominated them in every single game mode across the series. Now, versus Animus, I think this is where things got a little bit more interesting, because while they were trailing for the most part in the hard point, they managed to play scrappy towards the end of said hard point and played them a pretty close game. Search and destroy and control, we don't need to talk about that. But Vanquish are a pretty good team, and I think they're definitely going to be something that RHH have to worry about here in this series.
I mean, you know, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, Ton. But we talked about it in relation to NA yesterday and the first match leading into today. It's also about what improvements or observations they could have made from week to week.
Yeah, it is that. I think for Vanquish, though, that they know that they obviously went close up against Animus to a certain degree. I mean, as close as anybody has really seen them go this season, and that kind of says a lot because it wasn't that close at all. But at the same time, you know, they have ability, they have the potential. So they're coming into this as the team who are expected to go through. I think for RHH, it's about their adaptability from their previous series. If they can, you know, go in up against PBM in that really mixy game, and then you can step it up to another level to go up against a team like Vanquish, that's where the question's going to lie for me more so in this series.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting story here, because it was already a well-fought battle in that first match to even get to this point of the competition. And you know that Vanquish has been waiting to have an opportunity to get this final match through. So we'll see what they've picked here, Brody. Pretty standard.
Yep, pretty standard. This is exactly more or less what I expected. Looking kind of back at what we've seen from these teams in the past, I'm looking at that Arsenal hardpoint specifically. That was the hardpoint that Vanquish did manage to play closely against Animus. So I think that's a solid one for them to have in this series. Looking across the rest, raid control, Vanquish dispatched with PBM pretty quickly on raid control. So this is actually a pretty solid map set, I would say, for Vanquish so far. But it's one of those things that we always talk about, which is like when you have like classic maps like raid control, has to get a hard point in there. That's actually a really solid position for RHH to come into this series from, because you know what you're going to get on those maps.
I like it. All right, well, Tana, have you give your thoughts as well, but after I pass it off to you guys. Chat, let us know your thoughts as well, because I want to know who you think is going to be the fourth and final team heading through to the challenge finals. This is the last match, Vanquish versus RHH. Our teams are about ready to go, so let's dive into it.
Well, thank you very much, Lauren. The admin's on absolute speed running at this stage, so we'd love to see that, getting things up and running pretty quickly. I think for me, at this stage, for the side of RHH, it's just about creating a little bit of chaos. If you can kind of revel in that and maybe get something going on here against Vanquish, that's kind of where I would say their opportunity is going to lie. the Search and Destroy potential. But I mean, I think it's hard to say. Look, we aren't giving them too much of a route in here. But yesterday, I remember on the NA side of things, we had some similar kind of lines on, specifically the first game. You know, we've had teams who have not necessarily performed, and then when it comes down to the wire, it's your final chance to get there. Is this the time now for RHH to step it up? I'm not 100% sure if that is going to be the case. Vanquish are very much going to be favorites in this one, Brody, but I think, are we going to be able to see enough from RHH to get it over the line here? Based on what we've seen against PBM, they'll have to be a whole lot better.
Yeah, I do think their way into the series is probably the Search and Destroy and the Control, right? And there's only so much you can take away, really, from Vanquish getting decimated by Animus on those modes. But again, you know, it does feel like just taken away from the fact that they played Animus close in the hardpoint, getting a hardpoint away from Vanquish when they're clearly a proficient hardpoint team is going to be a big ask. Now, I will say the reason that the hardpoint was so close between these two teams was because Vanquish were playing scrappy towards the end. They were actually down like 237 to 143 or something ridiculous like that, and they managed to bring it back all the way to a 250 to 224 loss. So it could have been a lot more dominant. So I think there is certainly a way into this hardpoint for RHH, but you really do have to play perfect.
We need to see them with a strong start. I think you can quite often see these more upper class teams, if they get something rolling, you get your operators first, and then all of a sudden, if you're RHH, you're on the back foot throughout the majority of the game. And it's the kind of snowball effect that can happen when it comes down to COD Mobile and these operators still available. It's just one of those things for these teams to need to keep on top of it. Right now, though, it's a start for Vanquish, where they're going to be the first ones to get some time. RHH with not a bad fight through the middle of the map here, but P1 off the rip, when it does come down to Arsenal, it's hard to really get a lot of time without a perfect wipe. And neither one of these teams managing to do that so far.
Shout out to Kuda, back in the lineup here for this week of play. Fahim is the player that they've removed from the lineup to make sure that they do qualify for a challenge finals. I'd say that's a pretty good trade all in all. Fahim's a solid player, but Kuda, I would argue, even better. So to have him back in the lineup, I think it's going to be a big boon of success for Vanquish. Right now, that's been a solid start to this series for Vanquish as well. You win the majority of time on P1 control. I like the comm from RHH. You recognize that Vanquish is probably going to be pushing through, and that is great trigger discipline as well from Sushi to wait, oh, never mind. Okay, I was giving him gas. I think he was actually just disconnected from the game for a moment, but he did get found out in the end, and now Vanquish are going to flip these spawns out here, Ton.
Yeah, he ends up playing when we do see him come back into it, but ultimately it does not matter in that scenario. Was holding the right angle, was doing the right thing. Predator missile in. It is just about going to keep going alive. We will find a second as well. It's 4 in a row from him. Vanquish with a very nice start. Now for RHH, it's a hard push, especially when you're running into all this gunfire and all the operators that are going to be coming available very, very shortly for the side of Vanquish. 3 already. And keep an eye on them already coming in. Yep, there you go. Gravity Vortex. Well, completely wasted, I mean, with a Hail Mary. Don't will get taken out. Vanquish still holding this down, though. One last push for RHH with 20 seconds remaining on this hill.
Going to try and hit this one through the front. RHH are losing the majority of the gunfight. Slow Axis will double up here. With 15 seconds left, I mean, probably not best to give this a look. I'll be honest with you, Ton, I'm not a fan of that Predator missile. There's no real reason to utilize a Predator missile for 10 seconds worth of scrap time. You don't really get much in the way of information as well, because you're nowhere near looking at a rotation just yet if you're RHH. But Vanquish already on the way here. There's absolutely no way that Markuda just waltzes in for that freebie.
Well, apparently he does. And now all of a sudden, this is a hard break back for RHH. You've got players on the flank coming through your spawn. And you've got everybody else aiming down sights. HBC, that's free. He turns around because they've got one player on the flank. They're all trying to deal with it, and you just push on through. RHH are down with the flip, so Vanquish spawn towards the back. Aiming can find something with the War Machine, so maybe something can cook here for the side of RHH. Pump Fake doing well, and a break back eventually comes through. But that's probably about 20 seconds wasted, where RHH were the first ones here. Vanquish get it, but they do eventually find a way back through.
Yeah, and I question that little play there, if only because of the fact that you have your own demons to deal with on the point. You do not need to be dealing with players towards the backline. You got to have faith in your teammates to win those 1v1s, and even though that player does end up losing it, still, like, you turning around probably loses the front control of the hard point for RHH. So, kind of unfortunate. Regardless, they will be back in for the back 15 seconds here. Utilization of the Purify from Pump Fake is great for 4 kills. That's going to guarantee that scrap time, but again, it feels like maybe not the best usage of it. You didn't really need that scrap time. If anything, you want to be using it for control of the rotation, which Vanquish will have first look at here. The Purify could have gone pretty hard on this hard point. We do have 3 operators in the back pocket, though, from RHH, and we've got to see at least one of them come out here for this break.
Yep, they're in a good position to try and find this break if they can coordinate this well. First 2 kills, first 3 kills going to go their way. Gunlayer and Kirby all dealt with. Kuda is going to be able to find one, but Axis then falls. Could have left on his own. Lovely break from RHH. And not really a great deal used to get them there, but there you go. Sushi now going to bring in the equalizers. Doesn't find a great deal because Leia has brought in the Sparrow. You can see Gun gets taken down. Annihilator out from HBC, lining up for him. No problem whatsoever. RHH very much here to party in map number 1.
Vanquish trying to fight back, though. Through the smoke. Kills being found. Rushes, finds 3. Brilliantly done. Only one player surviving that entire onslaught, and that'll be Axis through the middle door. It's been a phenomenal start of this game for Vanquish, trying to play their life, and that is not going to happen. And the big problem here for Vanquish, right? Yeah, you have 3 players kind of through the middle of the map trying to get some scrap time. You're not even going to get that down. The fact that Rushes continues on here 6-free, but you are spawning way out of this new hard point. I actually do like that Predator missile as well from Rushes, because now you should know that Gon is in the backline, and RHH should be going to deal with that player, but Gon actually wins the gunfight against HBC. That's going to create a pincer effect here. Vanquish now pushing around the front. Let's see if they can break through.
One player spawning towards the backside as well. You got to win these gunfights if you're RHH, and you take the lead off the back of them. Really nice job over the last few hills for RHH. They battled their way through, and Vanquish seemed to be a little bit lost at the moment. Aiming just putting down some fire here with the War Machine to try and back everybody up if he can. Would have been a scary gunfight for later to take him, and we'll find it here with the Type 99. USS S9 out to the side of Pump Fake towards the back. Vanquish, it definitely feels a little 1-by-1 here, Brody. I mean, Gun is going to find 2 with the Gravity Vortex gun, but it feels like Vanquish maybe playing a little bit stubborn right now. RHH are holding this down very, very well, but here come the operators from Vanquish. Can they find a breakthrough? But for only 15 seconds.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the kills right now coming from Vanquish playing as a team, right? And that just was not there for the most part. They will garner the scrap time away. RHH still spawning to the back spawns here, means that they will at least give this one little look, trying to cut the players rotating towards new off at the source. Won't even give it a look towards that time. Vanquish are technically speaking still here, though. First team in towards new. And I will say, right now, Vanquish could probably be doing with Kirby stepping it up a notch. He's now on 5 kills, was on 2 not that long ago. So if we can see the normal Kirby to come out to play, who has been a phenomenal player over the last couple of seasons of SPS, I think Vanquish will be perfectly fine.
Yeah, gone with the 23 to Kirby's, well, now 6. It's quite a difference in scoreline. Pumpfake going to find a little bit of a route through here, though, and that's going to allow his teammates to maybe find a way through, but they need to win the gunfights in the back of it. They can't do so. And this has been the best hold that we've seen from Vanquish in quite some time. Investment coming through from HBC. He's wiped out by an explosive arrow coming from the Sparrow. Vanquish will hold this one down. 25 seconds still to play with here. And RHH are really struggling to break through. A lot of investment from Vanquish, it has to be said, but it's nearly for a full 60 if you can hold this final 15.
Yeah, Vanquish doing a really solid job on this P1 hardpoint. And you can already tell kind of RHH have resigned themselves here to losing this hill and rotating towards news. Worth saying, they did get broken pretty much straight away last time around. The setup is also slightly different for it as well. You've got players pushed further up towards the cut, but you've lost players on the front of the hill, and that, I genuinely do not have a clue how that spawn is concocted by the COD gods. I have no idea how on earth they gifted that, but that's now going to create a hell of an uphill battle for RHH to fight for this time, and that they are not going to win that.
Yeah, that's a smelly one, to say the least. I mean, it's just chilling towards the back, and oh, I've spawned on your forehead. There you go, Vanquish. Well, I mean, look, they do well with everything else, but they probably get a lot of benefit from that spawn that comes through in their favor, but maybe RHH will get a little bit of rub of the green as things do continue on here, because right now, Vanquish are looking to pick up the final 30 seconds of P2. They found a breakthrough. And not too far away from breaking 200. It felt like RHH kind of strung together something through 3, 4, and 5 on the previous rotation. But since then, I've not really had anything to write home about. They're going to have another opportunity to do that, though, as we do head over towards P3 in just a second. Find a small break to relinquish Vanquish of some time, but now the setup is there for P3. If you're RHH, it's not the end of the world, okay? The scoreline is not looking great, but you know where you were successful last time. It was this hill, the next, and the next one after that. If they can do that again, they can find themselves back into this game.
All right, well, Vanquish looking to fight this one from the front. Don has to be ready. Might be able to catch some players off guard through the smoke, and it's just brilliantly played from Leia on Axis. You can now fight this one from the front of the hard point. One potential player coming through the cut, and that's Sushi, who doesn't really last that long with the equalizers whatsoever. You've got operators on your side now for Vanquish as well, and you're watching every single point of entry. I
mean, I think when you put the Gravity Vortex gun down in those kind of positions, it just delays the inevitable push that is now going to come through from RHH. 34 seconds to play for. Sushi will clear them out. There's nice. 4 in a row from Sushi. Great shots coming through with the USS9. Best gun in the game right now, as Bobby Players tells me, at least anyway. And I trust that man with my life. Never mind COD Mobile. Kuda trying to find a way through. Sushi not able to find anything there. And then on the other side, Vanquish can find a big break back. I mean, it just feels like when RHH are finding those moments, Vanquish answer back with one of their own immediately.
Yeah, and that was really unfortunate there for Sushi. I think was trying to use the coverage of the smoke to play his life for a really long period of time and then pounce on the 3 players and towards the hard point. I think the smoke actually ended up being a bit of a stunt towards him because he didn't know where the players were on the reach out. Vanquish had an inkling that Sushi was about and were able to trade out effectively. Now looking towards the new time note. Players starting to get shut down. Kirby has definitely played hero in this second set, has gone from 2 kills all the way to 15 through the last 3 hard points. Now wants to do even more damage than that. But RHH have got a solid look at this first hard point. Currently not the spawns that you're really looking forward to, but you are getting all of these gunfights. 3 in a row for Amin, finally getting shut down, but now it's Leia through the Sparrow. That's allowed Vanquish through.
Kirby doesn't find a great deal with his equalizer. That comes out, Bakuda. Oh, wow. There you go, the death machine. Doing what it says on the tin right now. HBC and Co trying to find a way through. Sushi maybe next on the chopping block. Pump faking everybody else now trying to find a way through. Vanquish 10 seconds away. This break has to come now. It has to come quickly from RHH. They can find 1 kill through. Right, maybe a little bit of luck, but that is going to be that. Nobody close enough to get a touch. A small moment of despair for Vanquish is quickly forgotten. 250 to 156. They will find map number 1 relatively comfortably. RHH definitely here to play, but not quite able to find those levels in that second rotation.
Yeah, first set, I mean, this is a story we've seen time and time again, right? Where it's just like a team will play pretty closely for the first set, and then that team that's kind of being held back somewhat will kick things up a notch into the second set. How many times have we seen that happen? And to be fair, I mean, only 4 of the 5 players are actually playing, it seems like, for the first set. Was it Kirby finished with like 2 kills at the end of the first set? Something just like that. Didn't even find a frag through the final 3 kills of that first set. As soon as he starts to pick things up a notch, I think he finishes with about 20 kills in the end. It's just Vanquish. They go full metal mode, and there's not really much that RHH could do past that point in the game. Just so many rotations where Vanquish just look a little bit better, able to win out there in the end. Looking towards the final scorelines of that game. Ignore the fact that Kirby goes 15 and 32. We don't need to talk about that. But we will talk about the fact that Axis finishes 35 and 24 with over a minute inside the hard point. Leia also up there as well. That's a triple 30 bomb for Axis, Leia, and Gone. Just phenomenal performances across the board here for Vanquish.
I mean, in fairness, RHH not necessarily too far behind on the slaying front, right? I think, realistically speaking, when we're talking about Vanquish in that map, they've just been able to find a couple of nice breaks. I think RHH actually, on rotation, weren't too bad, but then they would lose that initial couple of gunfights, and then that immediately puts them in a bit of a problem. And also, I want to probably give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt with that spawn over towards P2 on that second rotation as well. That's a stinky one, as mentioned. But they will, of course, find map number 1. Vanquish will feel very confident now in this series. They would have been anyway, but I think at least I had some positivity from RHH there that they're going to fight throughout this series. And let's see if we can do that here in the Search and Destroy, which is going to be coming up next. Of course, we do have a map number 3 in control as well, and potentially a 4th and 5th to come. But based on Vanquish finding, I want to say that just those moments, that clutch ability towards the latter stages, or at least in that second rotation, it just kind of shows that quality difference between these two teams. But we go over towards standoff, speaking of quality, and let's see how this one's going to go. RHH, this is your potential route back into the series. The gun skill is somewhat there, but can we find those moments here in the Search and Destroy if you're RHH to tie this series up?
Yeah, I think the big problem for RHH going into the Search and Destroy is that Vanquish have something they didn't before, which is Kuda is in play. You have a second sniper on the field now. That's going to make things awkward. Actually, not going to be using the sniper. Kuda has the AR out for this game. I think it's Kirby might be running the second sniper, perhaps. Either way, Vanquish getting it done. Looking to have a solid start of this game. They do exactly that through the middle of the map. Aggressive here on the defense. Goodness gracious. RHH swarmed. Vanquish, that is one of those rounds where you can tell they definitely want to set the pace before the game even begins.
I mean, did that round even happen? It was over in the blink of an eye. Vanquish go to the middle of the map, RHH do too, and say, yeah, you want to square up? Well, probably not do that again, or will you? Aggressive over towards the side, aiming, waiting. Yep, there you go. Kuda looks for the angle, does not find it. They're going to try and get over here to help out, but HBC is going to back him down. Rushes will find Gon, so the advantage now with RHH, well and truly, a 5 versus 3 in their favor.
They will bring it down to a 3 versus 4. Axis kill against HBC will ensure that. But bomb down. You've allowed Kirby to just walk in the site. Surely he doesn't walk away with a kill. No, he does not. Not going to beat out the R9 at that range. And now Leia left up 1 versus 4 here. Gets a freebie against Amy. Problem being, though, with only 30 seconds on the clock here, I don't imagine that RHH are going to give many more freebies away.
I mean, unless they line up, you can see two players very close to each other throughout the middle of the map. Sushi, he's not going to give too much away. A player have his experience. We'll just throw shoulders. The rest of the team waiting for the push to come through. 12 seconds to go. Leia would have to do something phenomenal here. Even with a good shot on the Sushi, that one is just not attainable. And Vanquish will drop around there. RHH, just some nice opening picks, to be honest. I really like it from Aomin, where the push comes through from Kuda over in the square, and all of a sudden it's just a nice pick to find. You then get a little bit of onus towards that site. And it's just a nice easy push in the end over towards A, and the bomb goes down, and it's a nice easy round. Vanquish putting a little bit more respect over towards this side, I want to say. RHH having a luck, but yet able to find an inroad.
That's this early aggression that we saw previously from Vanquish, right? Where they're just winning some of these fights, and RHH, not really much that they can do in this situation. I mean, we'll find one at the very least. That's one of the biggest threats in the round, down for the count, but you are being dismantled here when you're looking at this kind of play. Now Rush is left up 1 versus 3, and he gets sniped from long from Kirby. And yeah, I mean, that's that same kind of play that we saw in round number 1, right? Where Vanquish recognized that the key to victory here is just getting early control of the A site, getting players on it, and RHH don't really have a response. I'd like to see RHH play a little bit more reactive to that play. I want to see them immediately recognize it and rotate away from it instead of just trying to take the fight.
Just got too aggressive, and Vanquish will punish them. Oh my word, look at where Leia is. Just gets through the smoke. All of a sudden, though, and it's actually the advantage towards the side of RHH. Makes it a 2 versus 1 pretty much immediately, though, as Aomin can only find the one. His teammates get taken down, so Aomin now left on his own. We have a good idea where he is as well, but does he know where Markuda is? That's the thing. Peek around the corner. Who's going to win the gunfight? It will be Kuda. Vanquish 3-1 to the good now. That initial aggression, again, kind of just falls their way. It's Leia who can find a couple through nothing. And RHH, when it kind of comes to that big firefight in the middle of the map, they just don't have the stones for it.
I think we just got to see something different on the offense here from RHH. Hitting A time and time again is clearly not working out. Utility over the top will unsettle Vanquish, though. Gon now has a hell of a lot to do here with the R9 shotgun. Will get a lot of value out of that, and you take that trade, especially as they run right into the not-so-welcome arms of Kuda. RHH now weakened here on this offensive here. You've got control of the bomb site, but at what price?
Can kind of be a little bit like fish in a barrel over towards A if you don't have those numbers. Next gunfight's going to be huge, though. I mean, can find Leia on the flank, then all of a sudden this changes, but Axis will pop his head around the corner and take HPC's chest off his body. Aiming left now in a 1 versus 3. We'll find the thirst. Does have time here, Brody. Minute and 5 can... Well, I want to say take his time, but at the same time, Vanquish did just have a good eye on where he was, but this is doable.
Plays a split as well, so this is definitely doable. Markuda just out towards the open, was keeping an eye on that back alley. Aiming will get that for free. And Axis wasn't in a position to cover the cross, so he has no idea where Aiming is going off the back of this point. There are a variety of different paths that Aiming could have taken. But Axis now, trying to play this ledge positioning. He's in a good solid position to spot Aiming out as long as he looks towards the direction of A.
Yeah, does he know that the bomb is down that side? That's what I was thinking in Axis. Yeah, he's got a good inkling. Spots Amy after the shot was not found. It was an opportunity there for Amy to find the 1 versus 3. And 3-2 would have been a much nicer scoreline to look at the top of your screens than 4-1 to Vanquish now. Looking solid here in the search and destroy. We did kind of give RHH a bit of an inroad here. There's been a couple of clutch situations that have been doable, and they haven't been able to get it over the line. Rush is now starting to get aggressive over towards this site. He is going to find the kill on the gun, and this is a bit more like it. The smokes go down. They give them that cover. Kirby is able to answer back. 4 versus 4. Fight's now going down over towards A, and it's absolute chaos across the board, but it's Kuda who comes out on top. Vanquish now in a 3 versus 2. Kuda with the drive-by fist to the face, but Sushi will find 2. 1 versus 1. And Leia looking for the pick. Sushi with the gunfight. Not going to find it. Vanquish again. Clutch up. 5-1 after the defensive rounds come their way. 6 rounds gone. Vanquish find 5.
And RHH, I mean, they are definitely playing to their strengths, right? They're trying to force these close-range engagements where your most talented players and the likes of Sushi and the Rushes are going to be better off. And you saw that multiple times through those offenses, but it just isn't working out. Vanquish sharp, better for it. Good up big plays in those rounds, and now they want to be the ones to win the offensive effort. But Gon doesn't actually check the corner inside the box. You're losing these 3-for-1 trades right now. This round has gone totally all right here for Vanquish. Axis now left up in a 1 versus 3, and the best thing you could possibly do in this situation is try and draw some of these players out.
Got a good idea where he is. So now Axis gonna have to fight with his back up against the wall here. Sushi covering if he does right back through his spawn. You can see already Russia's looking across as well. Not too much of an aggressive angle though. Sitting very passively. And I wonder, did Sushi actually get eyes on there? Because it doesn't look like it based on what Amin is looking at. Or did he? Axis now still does have a minute to play with here. The rounds are fairly lengthy enough for him to potentially find a route in here. First kill is going to be massive. Doesn't hit the shot on Amin. Or the second, the third. Oh my god, it's the worst gunfight I've seen from Axis in quite some time. And Vanquish will lose the round, but 1 versus 3 was not doable that time. RHH get one back on the board.
Yeah, and I think the initial push from Vanquish is just a little bit too confident, right? They weren't checking their corners properly. Lost a lot of the bloods and fell apart from there on out. So, could have been better from Vanquish. Still obtaining their lead at the moment, though. RHH could start to capitalize here on the defense, could start to stabilize, I should say. Now, off the start of this round, aggression from Pump Fake, first blood. I like the change of pace here from Vanquish to try and play slower and draw out the aggression from RHH. It works, but you have to settle for a trade here for the moment, and now you're starting to get sniped out of the round as well. Not really much in the way of headway towards either of these sites at this point here, Ton.
Difficult. It's about finding a pick. You still got Kirby and Axis with the snipe, so you know what the Tundra can do, but it's whether or not RHH offer up that opportunity. Right now with their positioning, what's the answer to that is absolutely no, but Kirby can find the first gunfight onto HBC. Russia's goes in a really nice spot. Nelly gets caught if you are Sushi over on the back side, but Kirby waiting for the push there himself, and it's still just playing the pick game if you are Vanquish. 1 minute to go. Feels like RHH playing very passively here, Brody. Oh, are they? Sushi gets aggressive. It's going to be back down. Still 3 versus 3.
Yeah, well, I think RHH almost just played perfectly in the hands there. The Vanquish. Kirby getting aggressive here. That's a ballsy reload in the middle of the open of the map. Fortunately enough, Russia's isn't going to be ego challenging him. Shots through the wall here. Checking that. Clearing all the different paths here. Russia's is the play you need to take down. Be half to win in this round, and it's going to be the quick scope to get it done. That is the opening that they needed. They've got the bomb. It should go down on A.
And now RHH's passiveness is going to punish them. It's bomb down now over towards A. It's a hard retake in a 2 versus 3 from this position, especially with Kirby cover in the middle of the map and AME now left in a 1 versus 3. We've seen this one before. And we found the outcome. In the end, it was 1 versus 1. He's not even going to find one of them. Axis finds the gunfight. 6-2 lead for Vanquish. They are 1 round away from going 2-0 up. And it just feels like when RHH had that advantage, they didn't want to make a move. They didn't want to make a misstep. And that ultimately cost them. Not ballsy enough.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't think it's necessarily the passiveness. I think it's the way in which they are playing passive, right? I mean, they just were not playing as a team there. They had 3 players totally separate out from one another. Vanquish able to play around that. With that kill on towards Russia's, it all falls apart. How about this aggression note from Vanquish at the start of this round? They draw first blood. This is going to spell disaster. It does exactly that.
This is a big problem. Now for the side of RHH, now left in a 4 versus 2 in the favor of Vanquish. They have just ran through RHH in this search and destroy unless Russia can find the 1 versus 4. Vanquish just looking a different beast right now. Russia's just running away with his tail between his legs. You could get this bomb down, lads, but it looks like they're going hunting. And controlling coming. And you've just got a feeling that RHH don't quite have whatever it takes to beat Vanquish right now. That is a very comfortable search and destroy win for the side of Vanquish after a comfortable map number 1. This series could be over very, very quickly here, buddy.
Yeah, just phenomenal search and destroy from Vanquish through the first 6 rounds. I think the story was pretty simplistic there, right? I mean, RHH were getting aggressive towards the A site time and time again, and they rarely were they actually winning the engagements. And I kind of already touched upon why they were doing that. I think they felt much more comfortable in close range engagements than maybe what a potential push in towards B was offering, because they needed to take players out towards the back hay bales, towards grannies, even towards Kebab. but still, or Delhi, I think, as they actually call it here in COD Mobile. There's a lot of different callouts for that positioning. Anyway, Vanquish going to win those gunfights more often than not. And as we got on towards the flipping of the sides here, I think Vanquish really did struggle at first, right? We saw that round from RHH, but as soon as Vanquish, played around what Vanquish or RHH were offering them, on the defense, it was easy pickings. We saw that penultimate round where they were able to take rushes down on the site in the 3 versus 3 and collapse on towards A, and then the final round in which Vanquish threw themselves around the back alley and RHH had no idea how to deal with it. Phenomenal performance from Kirby, who again may have had a slow start in Hardpoint, did not do so much here in the Search and Destroy.
Much better with the sniper out. And that will, of course, be the search over towards Vanquish. And for RHH now, it's been a valiant effort, but can you bring something back here on the control? So back and forth up against in their previous game. And it's a query of whether or not they can step it up another level. Right now, it just feels as if it's a step too far. They haven't been able to find that gear that Vanquish are very clearly and comfortably playing in. So for RHH, you need to find something somehow. We're going to be going over towards Raid again, and it wasn't convincing from them when we seen them in their previous series. And I think that's going to be the worry heading into this one as well, Brody. I mean, Vanquish will look to close this one out very aggressively and very quickly, you would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like, Vanquish have just proven to be a pretty proficient control team in the past. Now, albeit that wasn't there versus Animus. I keep on saying this. I don't think you can take too much away from Animus because Animus are just different beasts. Like, we fully expect them to win this season, if not too exclusive. With that said, though, I think, Vanquish, they showed relative promise in the control. It was only really a spawn trap from Animus and an operator battle that Animus managed to win on their offense that kind of won things out for Animus. Fundamentally speaking, I don't think there's anything necessarily to criticize for Vanquish on raid control. So I do expect them to win this one, but we've been surprised.
I mean, that's just not the start you want, though. The initial nades coming over the top, and RHH have lost 4 bodies immediately. They've been trying to find some nice shots here with the Type 19, but it's that initial pressure you don't want to fall the other way. Vanquish are starting to farm them already. This is dangerous almost immediately. We're not even 30 seconds into the round. Now RHH are under threat of being put into a spawn trap. Not going to happen this time, though. You are going to fight a way out somehow. And Vanquish choosing not to step too much further, but got a lot of real estate behind them here, Brody, on raid, and they just need to find another way of gunfights, and RHH are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this is so difficult. You're just winning every single gunfight possible right now. Finally, you will take the players down. Our positioning is pivotal at this point in time, though. Vanquish have lost all of their backstops and now have to rely on the players on the point itself. Kirby, still a lot to do here in this situation. You surely do not win this fight if you're Kirby. Yeah, you don't. And now this is RHH. Should be able to capture B. Rarely do we see teams over-aggressive towards the defense of B once they've lost control of it. It generally isn't a good idea to do this. It is a better idea to set yourselves up for the rotation towards A. Gon's going to give it one last look, as will Kirby, and that will offer a path out of the point, but you can see the advanced positioning from the likes of Vanquish now. They are ready for a potential spawn trap, and Leia is putting a couple of players directly in there.
Yeah, I think Vanquish find a couple of kills over towards it with the utility, and it gives them the opportunity to have a look. Leia finding a couple, though, and as you mentioned, it kind of just does send everybody back to the spawn, and that's where Kuda is, and that's where you don't want to be. Amy can find something, but 17 versus 8, it is very much backs against the wall for RHH to try and find something out of this round, and it just feels like Vanquish have never been back in their spawn. They've been constantly aggressive. They've constantly had somebody pass that halfway line. That's just making things very difficult for RHH, but not difficult enough that they can't get out. They have managed to find some kills. God now still in the spawn. They're over towards A, and it's all very well having 3 players over towards Garage when you are talking about the spawn trap, but you need players back here to actually be able to kill. They're currently capturing A, 13 versus 4. It's about the bedroom positioning. Leia, great shots coming through. Vanquish make sure to get the job done, and that's a convincing round number 1 there, Brody.
Yeah, if you guys weren't convinced that the SS9 probably needs to be banned, that long-range gunfight on towards pump fake from bedroom towards the point probably is good enough evidence that it probably does. Sushi, last one left alive. You ain't known under 1 versus 11 in a month for Sundays. And Vanquish, I mean, there are opportunities there for RHH in that round to stop Vanquish on the defense, right? I think, you see that with Vanquish maybe perhaps getting overzealous in towards a potential spawn trap position, but it just couldn't get it done. They weren't quite conscious enough of bedroom control. And RHH lose that round relatively convincingly. We go into this round, and Vanquish, they have so much utility to work with. Don't be surprised if some of it comes out.
HBC gets taken down, and there's that utility you were talking about. 3 operators now on the map here for the side of Vanquish. Gun finding so much value with the gravity vortex gun again, and even if you're not finding too much from Axis here with this war machine, it's just zoning them away. This is just a freebie capture for the side of Vanquish, and RHH are getting farmed a little bit here now, Brody. Everything being brought in, the kitchen sink, a lot of it. Vanquish, sight set on A in the second round. It's feeling pretty imminent.
All right, Rushes. That's not a bad couple of kills here. I was going to say that Predator missile from Cuda kind of makes sense, right? You don't just want to get a couple of kills in rotation, but also you want to know where RHH are positioned here on the defense. You still do have that knowledge as well. They haven't exactly moved all that much. And now I'll be utilizing that to follow up with some frags. RHH, a couple of players past the offensive line here, and you're dealing with the players that have managed to slip the net. Just one more player, and this is basically a full wipe. Phenomenal play from RHH here. That is a great stabilization. You think of the amount of utility that Vanquish threw their way to basically draw that out and not lose too much for it. I'd say solid play from RHH on the whole.
Yep, good defensive hold. To be honest with you, you find those gunfights, you pressure them back. And yeah, as you said, you know, there was a lot of investment coming out from Vanquish, and for what? You get a hold of B on attack on raid? Yeah, cool. Everything else coming out from RHH now, though. They're still down on lives, but this is an opportunity to keep Vanquish at bay. Axis will get taken down, but a lot of players over towards this bedroom side. The thing that Vanquish have on their side is time, but Sushi can find that gunfight onto Gon. Rushes can't find something on the Cuda, though, so a little bit of breathing room now for the side of Vanquish. How he finds HBC so quickly, I'll never know. Kirby again, having a little bit of a slow map, but 4 kills is probably going to be added to here with the equalizers out and some aggression coming through from Vanquish, but RHH still finding kills here, Brody. This is such a winnable round for them.
You got to find some value on those equalizers. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I think Kirby just didn't find anything whatsoever there. He could at the very least try to hold some players off from kitchen side, maybe create an opening for Vanquish. That doesn't happen. So that's a big operator to lose in this situation. Now you're down to your final 5 lives in this one. Kirby's going to have to utilize the smoke to hit the regen. At every single point of entry being watched. 25 seconds to the clock here. You don't have a lot of time to work with, and you're all going to hit this point through A side.
That time has whittled down. The touch comes through now for the side of Gon. One gunfight will be found, but AME will find him. The trade comes through. Operators starting to come out from the side of Vanquish to try and get something going here. Kirby can find something onto AME, no, but Kuda's still alive with the death machine. Will spin around. Can he find anything with it? Finds Sushi, finds Rushes. Kuda all on his own, pretty much getting the job done. 2 versus 2 now down to Kirby. 1 versus 1. 15 seconds to go, but needs to get a touch. If you're pump fake, you gotta find the flank. Is it gonna even need the touch? Kirby looking for the gunfight. Pump fake just taking his time, but the time is now whittling down. 7 seconds. The gunfight has to come from some sort of angle for Pump Fake. He should surely have the better of Kirby. This time around, there's no way you don't find that fight. And Vanquish and Kirby will somehow find the second round, and Vanquish are in driving position right now. This is looking solid. They are 1 round away from sending themselves to challenge finals.
How does that happen?
No idea.
How on earth do you... I mean, I know USS 9, duh, but like still, like, what are you doing? Wait, why did he take so long to go for the fight? That's so unfortunate, though. Fair play to Kirby. Massive 1 versus 1. Vanquish win that one out. I do not understand what we just saw. Vanquish win a round they should never win, and are now just 1 round away from locking a place in challenge finals. Would be a tough sell to take exclusive down. That would more likely than not be the team that they face in that challenge finals bracket, and this is a phenomenal start of the game as well. Vanquish winning every single gunfight pretty much. You've only lost a couple of players, but there is some progress to be made on A, and they haven't dealt with HBC just yet.
Yeah, they could probably do with getting rid of him as soon as possible. A lot of progress made, so RHH, okay, you're down, what, 6 or 7 lives, but that progress is made over towards the A side. You got a little bit of route through over towards B. But I don't know, it's difficult. Oh, the progress is made from my brain, honestly. I was up late last night, as you're all well aware. Vanquish trying to get something done here. Over towards B we go.
Push coming through. Operators here for Vanquish to try and salvage this point. If you do happen to lose this, it's not the end of the world. Axis just needs to pre-fire around range. Doesn't know where Rushes is, though. Will tag him up. Not enough for the kill just yet. Now we'll finally take him out. So first tick through. Rushes plays his life for long enough here that there's an opportunity on the board, but Axis is still going. We'll now have Kirby as well with the equalizers, and you're seeing Vanquish here pull out with some operators and getting so much value for it. It's led to a situation where you're in a 19 versus 8. And even if RHH extend this clock time, that is just such a massive life disparity you've got to deal with. Advanced positions for the likes of Cuda as well. Vanquish just have so much going for them right now.
Feels like a long way home if you are HH. Vanquish now starting to put the pedal down once again. It's an 18 versus 3. This has been an absolute whitewash in round number 3. The opportunity for RHH to try and tie things up in the previous is maybe being the nail in the coffin. Axis will find HBC. It's down to Pump Fake and his Purifier. Probably going to find one. Doesn't find the second. Vanquish make mincemeat of RHH. That is as convincing as you are likely to see. And we will see Vanquish in Challenge Finals next weekend.
And shout out to Vanquish, a phenomenal team, and it's kind of what we expected, right? I think they definitely had to fight for it a little bit more than necessarily we expected. I think they certainly had more of a fight on their hands than PBM gave them in their first round of play. But Vanquish is a solid team. It doesn't matter what composition of players they have on board. They definitely deserve to be in Challenge Finals. And that was a great control. Now, I will say, we probably should be looking at round number 4 right now. That's down to a 1 versus 1 in that second round of play that I still can't quite believe happened. I've genuinely, I mean, I know the answer. I know that it's Kirby just having cleaner shots than Pump Fake, but still, like, just ridiculous play. The fact that Kirby wins that 1 versus 1 is just honestly insane. And I think their heads were kind of maybe in the bin for that final round of play as well, because that was basically as solid as you could ask for Vanquish. Final stats at the end of the game then. Kuda, great sub-in. It's nice to have him back on the mainline roster for Vanquish. 26 and 12. I think definitely a player that you're going to want to have on the team going into playoffs.
Incredible work. Kuda very much, as you mentioned, stating his claim for a starting spot when we do get to finals. But for RHH, look, there was opportunities here and there, but that's all they really had to work with. Lauren, Vanquish looking like we kind of expected them to
make this easy, but they got in, did what they needed to do, and made sure that they solidified their spot in the Challenge Finals. They weren't going to drag that out at all. Congratulations to Vanquish, though. Commiserations, obviously, to RHH. Well-fought battle to get through PBM, at least to get to that Vanquish side, the next stage of the bracket. But Vanquish were just so good. You guys mentioned it, whether that was, highlighting the teams that they beat through open finals. I mean, the whole storyline we've been following with them, they were going to be a difficult squad regardless, and definitely deserving of being in the Challenge Finals at the end of the day here, Brody.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is the thing with Vanquish, right, is that ultimately they have taken down some pretty huge teams. And albeit, again, I'm kind of being presumptive here with what the bracket will look like. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they're going to play the top seed from Group A, so they will be playing exclusive more likely than not. Like, do not be surprised if that happens. But I think exclusive are going to step it up a notch from what we saw in open finals. But like, Vanquish are a solid team. And I think a lot of people are going to underestimate them. And to be fair, I think in the same breath, a lot of people are going to underestimate SSS as well in that final bracket as well. So, like, yeah. I think there's a solid chance that these guys could come into this final bracket and really surprise the big two.
Well, we'll take one final look back at our Group B bracket so everybody at home can see what that looks like. Because today we were focusing on the lower bracket side of our group, like we mentioned at the beginning of the show. Last week, we got through that upper side of the bracket. There's only one more spot available here today for our 2 matches. And at the end of the day, it is Vanquish who are waiting in the wings to play through their 1 match and claim the final spot in our Challenge Finals. And we mentioned this when we were looking at the schedule. You've heard the casters talking about it as well. It happens next week, okay? So we go straight from this into our Challenge Finals. It was Animus who made their way through on the top half of the bracket. No surprises there. We knew that they were a shoo-in for our Challenge Finals, and now Vanquish joined them a ton. This is going to be a really fun Challenge Finals for EU.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. I think, especially when we look at the teams that have come through, I think a lot of people still, for me, the gap is probably bigger between Animus and everyone else than everybody else together in that second spot. I'm really interested to see who's going to step up to the plate. Are exclusive going to be that second team? Are they going to be able to even potentially challenge Animus? I'm not too sure. To be honest, I think we have our preconceived notions of which way we think everything's going to go, but I think there could be a couple of surprises next week, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, everybody at home, you better make sure you show up, because with the names that we have as our top 4 in the region, it's going to be a very exciting weekend long filled with action. I'm ready to see what the likes of, like you're saying, Ton, exclusive, what have they been working on while they've been waiting to see who was joining. They were first team to qualify through to Challenge Finals. They've had weeks to prepare for this. So it's going to be really cool. If you guys aren't able to make it, though, of course, you can follow us on social media. You've got those links down there, whether that's X, Insta, or Facebook, or you can join our Discord at discord.gg/Snapdragon Pro Series. That way you can talk with the entire community about Call of Duty Mobile in general, or stay up to date on everything we've got going on here in the SPS. Because as far as today is concerned, we are done. That is the last week of this season in EU for the challenge. Congratulations to all 4 of our teams that have made their way through to the challenge finals, as they are now the top 4 in the region. But next weekend, we determine who is the best of the best, who is that #1 squad in EU. And it's going to play into the larger global discussion that we have throughout the year when it comes to the competitive scene for Call of Duty Mobile. So make sure you are tuning in or somehow staying up to date on everything, because it's going to be a really fun way to close out this challenge portion of the year. As always, a huge thank you to Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL for helping us make this whole show possible. And chat, thank you to all of you at home for hanging out with us this entire challenge season so far and watching all of the action go down. We will see you next week in the challenge finals.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
Looks like the